So hello everyone, I am Rajkumar Gautam. So I have appeared to the interview 3 times and I have got a lot of experience. So that's why I'll be dealing with the current affairs. So every month's current affairs I'll be dealing with. So today I'm taking up October current affairs. So I have got expertise in geography, international relations, your environment and your science and technology. So I'll be dealing with the current affairs of these 4 subjects every month. So geography say at least 10 questions will come. And from international relations, okay, I mean locations here. Locations. So 4 आप international के पकड़ लो, 4 national के पकड़ लो. Around 8 questions will come from here. So environment में 15 से 20 questions आएंगे. And science and technology में around से average 15 questions आएंगे. So I'll help you with all these. So लगभग 50 questions are coming from this part. So I'll be helping you with this part. And see, बहुत सारा material available है market में. सब कोई भी current affair booklet उठा लो. So आप confuse हो जाओगे कि क्या पढ़ना है वहाँ से क्या नहीं पढ़ना है. So आज मैं क्या करूँगा? I will demystify it. So exactly क्या information आपको उठाना है booklet से, क्या याद रखना है, क्या omit करना है. So वो चीज़ें मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा मेरे experience के हिसाब से. Now let's dive into the topic. Now let's dive into the highest motorable roads in the world. So खारदुंगला तो आपने सब सुना होगा, इंस्टा में वगैरह देखा होगा आपने. लेकिन the Khardungla has been surpassed. Now the Migla is in the news. This is not only the highest motorable road in India, but also in the world. So it is located in Changtang Plateau. Second point. And most of these highest motorable roads are in Ladakh. And Ladakh is the extension of Tibetan Plateau. So why the Tibetan Plateau or Ladakh or Trans-Himalayas? They have a greater height. It is called as a phenomena called as double crusting. मतलब वहाँ पे दोनों प्लेट्स एक के ऊपर दूसरा है. Means नीचे इंडियन प्लेट है, ऊपर यूरेशियन प्लेट है. So this is called as double crusting. So दोनों प्लेट. So this is Eurasia, this is Indian plate. And this is where this Ladakh, your Tibet is located. So this phenomenon is called as double crusting. So जहाँ पे भी concept है, what reasoning part है, so that also I'll be telling you. Okay, ज़्यादा time नहीं लगेगा. So एक comprehensive knowledge मिल जाएगा. And UPSC ना कभी भी stand alone questions नहीं पूछता है, एक comprehensive question पूछता है वो. And कभी कभी UPSC एक point उठाता है science and technology से, एक point उठाता है environment से, एक उठाता है geography से, and एक उठाता है कहीं international relations से. ऐसे सारे सब्जेक्ट्स का जोड़ के भी देता है. So that's why you should be having comprehensive knowledge. Even if you are studying any current affairs in a particular subject, say environment से आप कोई current affair पढ़ रहे हो, लेकिन उसको आप सिर्फ environment के नज़रिए से नहीं, बाकी subjects के lens से भी आपको देखना चाहिए. So you should have a comprehensive understanding. So कल आप कोई district collector बनोगे या policy maker बनोगे, कि आप देखोगे कि ये वाला सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम नाले का है नहीं ना, वो बारिश का भी है. ओके, सिविक सेंस, लोगों का सिविक सेंस, वहाँ पे कचरा थ्रो कर रहे क्या. सो एवरीथिंग इज इंटर रिलेटेड. सो यू हैव टू सी इट एज ए कॉम्प्रहेंसिव होल. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज प्रोजेक्ट हेमंग. सो मिगला पास, यू रिमेंबर, हाइएस्ट मोटरेबल रोड इन द वर्ल्ड. सो कहाँ पे लोकेटेड है? चैंगटैंग प्लेट्यू. Now why it is strategically important? Because it is located near LAC, line of actual control. So line of actual control is with China and LOC is with Pakistan. So अगर आपके troops को mobilize करना है as soon as possible towards the LOC, कल कोई war हो जाए चाइना के साथ, then ये सब roads will play a very important role. Now there is one more location here called as Hanle. So Hanle में you have this lot of telescopes there. क्योंकि Hanle जो है एक अच्छी खासी हाइट में है, around 4.5 kilometers, 4,500 meters हाइट पे है. So वहाँ पे पोल्यूशन कम होगा and moreover वहाँ पे लोग भी कम है. So that's why it has been declared as a night reserve, dark sky reserve. मतलब light pollution कम है. So when you have a low light pollution, you will be able to gauge stars. मीन्स आप आउटर यूनिवर्स को देख सकते हो, इसलिए वहाँ पे एक ऑब्जर्वेटरी भी है, वहाँ पे टेलीस्कोप भी है, सो विच विल बी स्टडीइंग लेटर. So next, you can look at the location here. So this is where your Migla Pass is located. So Hanle देखो, यहाँ पे पास में है Hanle, and this red line is LAC. And इसके पास आप 3 lakes है. One is Pangangso Lake, which is extending into तिब्बत एज वेल, मीन्स चाइना में भी एक्सटेंड कर रहा है. यहाँ पे पहले बहुत सारा स्क्रिमिशेस हुए थे, मतलब काइंड ऑफ लड़ाई झगड़ा हुआ था इंडिया चाइना का. सो दैट विल नॉट बी डिस्कसिंग नाउ. एंड दिस इज सो मोरीरी लेक, एंड यू हैव वन मोर लेक कॉल्ड एज सोकर लेक. यहाँ पे एक लेक लिख रहा है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज सोकर लेक. सो ये चीज़ें भी आसपास में है. सो दिस आर ऑल पार्ट ऑफ योर लद्दाख, एंड दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ द चैंगतांग प्लेट्यू. नाउ व्हाई दिस चैंगतांग प्लेट्यू इज इंपॉर्टेंट? द फर्स्टली, ओके, cold desert is part of the cold desert, and you have some of the important species over here. So very important species is black necked crane. इसके बारे में बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. Snow leopard also we'll discuss later. And also you have this Changpa nomads. एक ट्राइबल ग्रुप है Changpa. And Changtang plateau में you have this pashmina goats. आपने सुना होगा ना, कोई शॉल है और रिंग में से निकलता है, बहुत ही लाइट वेट होता है, but it will be giving you a lot of warmth. So pashmina shawl जो है, pashmina goat का जो fur है उससे बनाते हैं, and that is there in Changtang plateau. See, current affair booklets में आपको सिर्फ मिगला पास के बारे में दिखेगा, and it will be written as Project Himunk. लेकिन उसके आसपास जितना भी इंफॉर्मेशन है मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. Okay, so that in future you will not be having any confusion, and you will be studying thing as a whole. सो यूपीएससी सिर्फ प्रोजेक्ट हिमंक ओके नहीं पूछेगा, आसपास के इंफॉर्मेशन, क्योंकि ये 4 स्टेटमेंट्स पूछता है. सो वन ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स कैन बी अबाउट प्रोजेक्ट हिमंक, सो रेस्ट ऑफ द 3 स्टेटमेंट्स कैन बी एनी ऑफ दिस. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड टू दिस. एंड यू सी दिस लेक्स हियर, Pangangso, Somoriri, Sokar. And one more question which they can ask is, which of these lakes is part of the Ramsar wetlands? और ध्यान रखना, पैंगैंगसो लेक इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ, क्योंकि अगर पैंगैंगो से लेक अगर वो रामसर साइट बनेगा, किस कंट्री के अंदर बनेगा? सो नीदर इंडिया विल बी एक्सेप्टिंग नॉर चाइना विल बी एक्सेप्टिंग. सो इसलिए इट इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ रामसर वेटलैंड्स, काफी बड़ा है. ओके, ये ध्यान रखना. सो दिस इज अ ट्रिकी पार्ट. सो सिंस इट इज अ बिगर लेक, यू विल अज्यूम दैट इट इज पार्ट ऑफ योर रामसर वेटलैंड्स. So next is Sawalkote Hydro Power Project. Now this hydro power project, HEP project, is located on Chenab River. You can see the Chenab River over here. Now why it is important? Because so recently the Operation Sindoor has happened. So during the Operation Sindoor, the people have told, मतलब अपने नेता लोगों ने बोला था कि हम इंडस, झीलम, चिनाब इसके ऊपर पूरा डैम्स कंस्ट्रक्ट कर देंगे, एंड जितना भी पानी है इन 3 रिवर्स का बाकी इंडिया को डाइवर्ट कर देंगे, ऐसा बोला था. क्योंकि अकॉर्डिंग टू द इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी, योर इंडस रिवर, झेलम रिवर एंड चेनाब रिवर विल बिलोंग टू पाकिस्तान, एंड रावी, बियास, सतलेज विल बिलोंग टू इंडिया. मतलब इंडिया इनका वाटर यूज कर सकता है, but not for consumptive purposes. Means you can have a run of the river project, electricity generation, and इसके ऊपर भी पाकिस्तान okay हमेशा it will raise a lot of objections. So that's why it has become important, because India has proposed the project. Now they will not be just asking about this Sawalkote hydroelectric power project, but also they will ask about other projects here. So these are some of the important ones. The Salal is important, ध्यान रखना. Baglihar, you can see the capacity over here. Okay, जो भी अभी operational है उसमें सबसे बड़ा है Baglihar. Dalhasti, okay, again it is important. And Sawalkote, which has been proposed one. And you can also remember Ratle HEP. Okay, which is under development, and this is also under construction. So these are some of the important ones. Okay, आपको A3 याद रखना है. all these are on Chenab River. So next one. So 5 beaches in Maharashtra received blue flag certification. Now you have to remember all 5. Okay, sometimes they can ask, but the most famous one is Nagaon beach. See, Nagaon beach is located near Alibag. Okay, this acts जितने भी आपने देखा ना, okay, विराट कोहली का घर, सचिन तेंदुलकर का घर, शाहरुख खान का दूसरा घर, okay, ये सारे okay इधर ही अलीबाग में है, okay, so which is also near this Nagaon beach. So tourism point of view, Bombay के पास में, that's why it is important. Next, what is this blue flag certification or conditions? So this blue flag certification is given by Denmark's Foundation for Environment Education. So under which conditions it will be giving this blue flag certification? See, firstly, the water quality has to be excellent. And वहाँ पे लोगों को environmental education होना चाहिए. Means waste कैसे reduce करना है वहाँ पे. Means whether वहाँ पे no smoking zone है कि नहीं. Okay. And what is the safety which is provided near the beach? Means वहाँ पे lifeguards है क्या? First aid has been provided or not? And what are the various public amenities which have been provided, like toilets and all? So if you have such conditions satisfied, then blue flag certification is given. So this is a Nagaon beach. Okay, this is okay one of the longest beaches. You can see कितना clean है यहाँ पे. Okay, इंडिया में होते हुए भी इतना clean है beach, इसलिए blue flag certification मिल चुका है. Next is Saranda Wildlife Sanctuary, Jharkhand. Now this Jharkhand है, ओडिशा है, छत्तीसगढ़ है. So यहाँ पे you have Mahanadi and its tributaries, Son and its tributaries. So these rivers are Rift Valley rivers. Rift Valley rivers. See, the Indian Peninsular Plateau is largely made up of stable rocks. Largely it is an igneous province. मतलब यहाँ पे sedimentary rocks कम होंगे, बहुत सारा igneous rocks होगा यहाँ पे. Now ये बहुत ही पुराना igneous rock है. So it has been like 3.7 billion years old. So इतने पुराने rock में you can have cracks and joints also, because the Indian Peninsular Plateau has not been stable. Over a period of time it has been drifting. एक ही जगह पे नहीं है, वो move कर रहा है. So that's why it is natural that it will be having rifting. Rifting मतलब बड़ा सा खड्डा मान लो. So अगर in this rift, okay, plant remains are falling. से बहुत बड़ा rift है यहाँ पे, इधर से पानी आ रहा है, इधर से पानी आ रहा है. And जितना भी dead plant remains है, if they are falling in this rift, and अगर इसके ऊपर मिट्टी गिरेगा, so the plant remains, the organic matter under compression, heat and pressure will undergo fossilification. So therefore, the chances of forming coal is high in the Rift Valley rivers. And jitne bhi peninsular rivers hai, they are all Rift Valley rivers. So chances of forming coal is high. So गंगा के बेसिन में या ब्रह्मपुत्र के बेसिन में आपको, गंगा के बेसिन में तो कोल बिल्कुल नहीं है. ब्रह्मपुत्र बेसिन में थोड़ा है, okay, not exactly in the basin, but okay, it's called as tertiary coal. But 99.9% of the coal is found in the peninsular rivers. Now, the coal is required for India's energy needs because more than 60% of India's electricity comes from coal, and coal mining is important. But यहाँ पे छत्तीसगढ़ में, झारखंड में आपका ट्राइबल भी है, तो ट्राइबल के राइट्स को प्रोटेक्ट करना है. Therefore, Supreme Court has finally given an order to protect certain part. It is called as the Saranda Wildlife Sanctuary. That's why it is important. So Supreme Court has intervened. So it is located in Jharkhand. So in this context, I am telling you how to remember this. So मैं आपको context भी बताऊंगा क्यों याद रखना है. So coming to the coal. Now I told you that ब्रह्मपुत्र बेसिन में नहीं है, लेकिन the coal which is found in the northeast, it is also called as tertiary coal. So most of the coal in India, okay, it is found in the mainland. So ये हो गया आपका mainland. So जितना भी आपका कोयला मिलता है यहाँ पे मिलता है. This is called as the Gondwana coal. And 99% of the coal in India is Gondwana coal. So less than 1% of the coal is found in the northeastern region. This is called as the tertiary coal. And tertiary coal में okay, the coal quality is not that great. Okay, इसमें calorific value भी कम होता है. And this coal was usually mined in Meghalaya. So Meghalaya में आपने सुना होगा कि rat hole mining and all. So असम, अपर असम वैली में भी ये कोल मिलता है थोड़ा बहुत, वहाँ पे भी माइनिंग करते हैं. लेकिन जितना भी माइनिंग होता है यहाँ पे, that is illegal mining. Why illegal? Because firstly the coal quality is low. Secondly, most of these regions are under 6th schedule of the constitution. For example, Mizoram hai, Assam hai, 6th schedule hai. So when you have 6th schedule, the tribals will be having more rights. Tribal rights are more. So it is not very easy for the corporations to go and exploit this coal. And moreover, this terrain is also very difficult. And मेघालय में अगर आप देखो, बारिश भी बहुत सारा होता है. एंड जब भी आपको अगर कमर्शियल स्केल पे आपको माइनिंग करना है, आपको बड़े बड़े मशीनें लेके जाना पड़ता है. एंड इतना बारिश में आपके जो मशीन है ना वो रुकेंगे नहीं, मतलब you won't be having stable platforms. And in Meghalaya you have a lot of limestone beds. So because of which the commercial mining is not possible. Commercial mining not possible है, गरीबी है. Okay, you have a lot of poverty over there. Therefore, the people mine the coal illegally. So now first time the permission has been given legally in the Namchik Nampuk region of Arunachal Pradesh, and this is also the first coal mine, commercial coal mine in Arunachal. So of course it will be having a lot of repercussions, such as tribal people rights will be taken away, the rivers will be polluted, the air will be polluted. But again, other side is it will end the illegal mining, generate jobs, etc. So that's why. So remember Namchik Nampuk. So next, see India, see air bases for example, USA के around 700 to 800 military bases है. Means apart from USA, बाकी वर्ल्ड में 700 to 800. अगर छोटे मोटे not exactly military bases but again listening post, intelligence gathering etc. वो सब मिला जाए, then around 1800 है यूएसए के. चाइना का भी काफी सारे हैं. सो इंडिया के कितने हैं? सो इंडिया का एक लौता एयरबेस था आईनी में, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म हो गया एंड उन्होंने बोला कि भैया चले जाओ. नाउ द ताजिकिस्तान इज लोकेटेड जस्ट अबोव इंडिया. एक कश्मीर है. सो ताजिकिस्तान, दिस आईनी एयरबेस वाज लोकेटेड जस्ट अबोव this Kashmir part. Now, it was of very big strategic advantage for India because यहाँ पे high plateau high hills है. वहाँ से आपको एक vantage point मिलेगा. आपको चाइना को अटैक करना है, अगर पाकिस्तान को अटैक करना है, बहुत ही ईजी हो जाएगा. सो इंडिया के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट था, बट इंडिया को खाली करना पड़ा यहाँ से. So I don't know why we could not have this strategic leverage. मतलब क्यों कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पाए? इफ फॉरेन अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री की गलती है या अपना डिप्लोमेसी में कोई कमी है. सो आई डोंट हैव दैट मच एक्सपर्टीज, बट आई विल टेल यू द लोकेशन हियर. नाउ राइट नाउ इंडिया डज नॉट हैव एनी मिलिट्री बेस आउटसाइड इंडिया. आप बोल सकते हो कि मालदीव्स में इंडिया का प्रेजेंस है. मालदीव्स, इवन फ्रॉम मालदीव्स ना, the Indian, not exactly military, but these are the people who are taking care of the Dornier aircrafts, मतलब जितने Doppler radars जो होते हैं, these are not people with the firearms and all. These are technical people. उनको भी vacate किया गया मालदीव से. And Seychelles में, Seychelles is a country, and there you have an island called as Assumption Island. वहाँ पे इंडिया का air strip है. It is not fully under operation. Again you have this Agalega Island. So you have this Assumption Island. Assumption Island is in Seychelles. And you have this Agalega Island. So this is Mauritius. So here also you have an airstrip, but again the China is having more influence because China इन छोटे countries को बहुत सारा loan देता रहता है. So that's why okay we are unable to operate properly. And Bhutan में भी अपना थोड़ा बहुत presence है, but again it is for training Bhutanese army. So we cannot say that exactly these are any military bases. So these are like, you know, I don't know what to call them. So we can say India's presence is there, but not exactly military bases. So as of now, India does not have any military base of any kind, naval, air or land. So next one is the Saudi Arabia has ended the kafala system. So kafala system is such kind of a system where as soon as the worker enters this country, their passport will be taken, their passport will be withheld, and wages will be paid less, there will be forced labor, and आप easily country से बाहर नहीं जा सकते हो. It's a kind of slavery. So all these GCC countries, जितने भी Gulf countries है, वहाँ पे कफाला system होता है. तो सऊदी अरेबिया ने बैन कर दिया, and it will be benefiting 2.6 million Indians. Now, in this context, they can ask which other countries have this kafala system. So, you have this in UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman. So, यहाँ पे है. Now, बहरीन ने बोला कि इसने abolish किया. But the thing is, it is not being properly implemented. So, Bahrain kind of stands out. It is there in other GCC countries. So, that's why it is important. Next, Haichi. So, talking about Haichi, I will take you to the map here. So, Haichi is located here. You can see here. This Cuba, Haiti and Dominican Republic. So these three islands is called as, and Puerto Rico also, these four combined they are called as Greater Antilles, and जो छोटे छोटे islands जो है ये Lesser Antilles है. So यहाँ पे country है Barbados, ये भी ध्यान रखना है. Now let's talk about Haiti here. So entire Western Hemisphere में means North America, South America ये सब combined करके Haiti is the only poorest country. So Haiti, यहाँ पे आप देखो, यहाँ पे Cayman Island है. So near Cayman Island, you have this Cayman Trench. Means subduction is taking place. So because of the trench, there are active earthquakes over here. So Haiti is always hit by the earthquakes, tsunamis. So natural disasters are very high. And there is no proper rule over here. And recently in 21, the country's president also has been assassinated. So there is no rule of law. यहाँ पे जो है बहुत सारे gangs operate करते हैं. So all these gangs they fight with each other, and because of this there is a lot of bloodshed and a lot of people have to flee. Means around 1.6 million यहाँ से displacement हो गया. So that's why it's in the news. So Haiti का location आप ध्यान रखना. So it's known about poverty, earthquakes, tsunamis, gang violence, and no law and order. So next, again we will discuss one more country here, Venezuela. Again I will take it to the map over here. So this is where you have this Venezuela. Now in Venezuela, earlier you had this Hugo Chavez. So Venezuela has 20% of the world's crude oil, means 1/5 of the crude oil is located here. So obviously it should be a rich country, right? But it is not rich because of the sanctions by the USA. Maybe the US companies were not allowed to mine over here. USA को बोला भाई तू यहाँ पे माइन मत करना. So इसलिए USA को गुस्सा आया. So US has imposed sanctions. So US will be telling its friends or enemies, धमकाता है भाई वेनेजुएला के पास कोई ऑयल नहीं खरीदना है. So during the Hugo Chavez times, so the country has become heavily dependent upon the oil, the money which is coming from the oil. So it did not diversify its economy. So पूरा oil dependent है and USA ने sanctions impose किया. So because of which it is not earning, means income ही नहीं है, मतलब बाकी industries कुछ भी वहाँ पे development हुआ ही नहीं है. So it is in economic turmoil. So this country is also facing a lot of hyperinflation. And also the current USA government has been accusing Venezuela of running a lot of drug market. Means it is becoming one of the routes, one of the gateways for drug trafficking. So वेनेजुएला से ड्रग्स आते हैं यहाँ पे फ्लोरिडा में, ये यूएसए बोलता है. सो यूएसए ने रिसेंटली क्या किया, सो यूएसए ने अपना एक शिप लेके आके यहाँ पे 85 लोगों को मार दिया, saying that it has been trafficking drugs in Venezuelan waters. Now during that time everyone thought that there will be a war between Venezuela and USA. So the situation was quite heated up. Then Venezuela had to mobile a lot of forces. And बहुत सारे forces Colombia के border पे जाना पड़ा, because you know the USA can come from there also. And you must have seen this, okay, what is that? Narcos, Netflix Narcos. आपने सुना होगा Medellin cartel, Cali cartel, Pablo Escobar and all. So Colombia, okay, it is the world's largest producer of cocaine. So वो Venezuela में जाते हैं, Venezuela के through they'll be going to USA. So the issue is the USA has killed a lot of people and it has attacked a ship of Venezuela in Venezuelan waters. So that's why it is important. And यहाँ पे country है Trinidad and Tobago, ये भी ध्यान रखना. So यहाँ पे Indian diaspora बहुत सारा है. Okay, so that's why it is important. And also beside Venezuela, you have this Guyana. So on the border you have a mineral rich region called as Essequibo. यहाँ पे दिख नहीं रहा है, Essequibo region है which is rich in minerals. So वो भी ध्यान रखना, Essequibo. So India and Kyrgyzstan agreed to strengthen the counter-terrorism operation. So here the location of the Kyrgyzstan becomes very important. And why Kyrgyzstan is important? It is the second largest producer of the gold. Capital Bishkek है, वो भी ध्यान रखना. And its economy majorly comes from Russia because earlier it was part of the USSR. And also it is sharing a border with Kazakhstan and China. China से भी border है, India से just ऊपर है. मैं आपको map में दिखा दूँ. So this is India. Above India, Kazakhstan. Just now I told you Aini Air Base. This is Kyrgyzstan. So it has got a very good border with Kazakhstan and also border with China. You see an island called as T2 Island here. T2, South China Sea. So two groups of islands over here. Here you have the Paracel Islands and here you have these Partly Islands. And this entire region belongs to South China Sea. And China has drawn a 9 dash line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it has also drawn a 10th dash line recently. So after drawing the 10th dash line, the China is indirectly claiming its rights on Taiwan also. So with the 9 dash and 10 dash line, the China is claiming the entire South China Sea. So that's why USA has constructed a lot of infrastructure in Paracel and Spratly Islands. So in this Spratly Islands, you have an island called as T2 Island. The T2 Island, okay, is near the Philippines. The Philippines is saying that, okay, it went to the T2 Island to rescue some fishermen. Means fishermen को वहाँ पे पानी पहुँचाने गया था. Then the China is taken it as offense. तो China ने बोला हमारी टेरिटरी में कैसे आओगे? तो China ने जाके वहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत लड़ाई झगड़ा किया. So that's why it's in the news. And China has also constructed. अभी यहाँ पे पारसल है, स्पार्टली है, लेकिन इस तरफ कोई आइलैंड नहीं है. तो चाइना ने क्या किया? द चाइना हैज कंस्ट्रक्टेड एन आर्टिफिशियल आइलैंड बिसाइड द फिलीपींस. इट इज कॉल्ड एज द स्कारबरो शोल. ये दिख रहा है. सो दिस इज द आर्टिफिशियल आइलैंड कॉल्ड एज स्कारबरो शोल. सो तो चाइना is claiming this entire South China Sea through the 9 dash line. so that it will have a monopoly. Means basically these are international waters, fishing भी है यहाँ पे, and you also have a lot of oil deposits over here, petroleum deposits भी है, and बहुत सारा mineral deposits भी है. So China का what mighty power है, so ये सारा कुछ claim कर रहा है. So that's why this island becomes important now. So next, which is in the news, is this. Now you have a concept called as this good Taliban, bad Taliban. Earlier US has given this definition, good and bad Taliban. Means whosoever is to support USA, they were good, and who are not supporting USA, they become bad Taliban. So India has never recognized this Taliban. But now, recently the Taliban foreign minister has visited India. So that's why it is important now. Now, जितने भी locations अफगानिस्तान में हैं, वो इंडिया के लिए, एग्जाम के लिए important हो सकते हैं. Now, the first one. The first one is the Durand line here. So, Durand line is an international border between the Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, it will running from Karakoram range. So, north में Karakoram है, and south में you have this Registan desert. I mean, southern वाला part जो है, वो desert है. Now, the problem with the Durand line is the Afghanistan, the Taliban Afghanistan is not accepting this, because the Taliban is majorly made up of this Pashtun population, and Pashtun जो है उस तरफ भी है, पाकिस्तान में भी है, and the Taliban wants this Pashtun region to be united. Obviously पाकिस्तान नहीं चाहेगा कि उसकी टेरिटरी जाए, इसलिए पाकिस्तानी आर्मी जब भी तालिबान यहाँ पे पावर में आया था 21 में, then it started fencing the border. The border fence कर देंगे, then the people का movement कम हो जाएगा, because यहाँ पे लोगों के टाइस है इस तरफ और उस तरफ. मीन्स उनके रिश्तेदार उधर भी रहते हैं, इधर भी रहते हैं, आना जाना शादी वादी होती रहती है. So आपने क्या किया, पूरा वहाँ पे fencing कर दिया. Obviously the people will be unhappy. So that's why, okay, the Taliban who are active in Pakistan, they started fighting against the Pakistani army. So उनको indirectly Taliban का support मिलता है. So that's why this Durand line is important. And also in this region you have the Khyber Pass. So यहाँ पे Khyber Pass भी है, very important है. So Khyber Pass, okay, it is located in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. So these are the various provinces in Pakistan. So ये है Baluchistan. Okay, recently आपने धुरंधर में देखा होगा Baluchis and all. So this is kind of desert region. This is Sindh region, Punjab region. These are federally administered tribal provinces. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that is Gilgit-Baltistan, and that is Azad Kashmir. So these are the various provinces of Pakistan. So ये ध्यान रखना है. And the provinces in the Pakistan are based on geography only. अगर आप geography देखोगे, आपको ethnicity भी याद आ जाएगी. You see here, ये वाला region जो है, a high mountain desert kind of a thing. So this becomes your Baluchistan. नीचे सिंध है, यहाँ पे पंजाब है, ये वाला है पश्तून है. So geography decides the ethnicity and also it decides the provinces. So geography को कभी भी ignore नहीं करना है. Understood? Now, the second most important thing over here is Wakhan corridor. You see small panhandle kind of a thing over here, ये जो दिख रहा है यहाँ पे. So ये वाला चीज जो है, इसको बोलते हैं वखान कॉरिडोर. So वखान कॉरिडोर का बॉर्डर एक्चुअली इंडिया के साथ होना चाहिए. Means on paper India shares a border with Afghanistan through Wakhan corridor. But now because of this Gilgit-Baltistan, Azad Kashmir, Aksai Chin, so these areas are not under India's control. ये तीनों इंडिया के कंट्रोल में नहीं है. So that's why the Wakhan corridor has been separated. So that's why it is important. And this is very important because China सीधा अफगानिस्तान में घुस सकता है. And it is very important for China's Belt and Road initiatives. And China can do the trade directly over here. And also Below this, you have this Gilgit-Baltistan. And China and Pakistan are very good friends with each other. And this region is under Pakistan's control. That's why Wakhan corridor can also come under the control of Pakistan, which is very dangerous for India. Because ये तीनों का अगर nexus बन जाएगा, India के लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा. So that's why you have to remember this. Then you have the Khyber Pass, which I already have told you. And this Khyber Pass is very important because it is the important trade route from Pakistan into Afghanistan. So जब भी अफगानिस्तान में war against terrorism हो रहा था, so USA ने अपना पूरा बेस पाकिस्तान में जमा के रखा था, and through Khyber Pass the supplies used to go, the army used to go, the air force used to go. So it was kind of a corridor. So that's why it is very important. So from 2001 to 2021, this Khyber Pass has played a very important role. दूसरा एक pass है Bolan Pass. So Khyber is very important here. So this I have told you already. So next, some of the important cities. So Kabul is the capital. Of course, you have to remember. Kandahar. So Kandahar is here. So Kandahar में बामियान बुद्धास है. So बुद्धास जो तालिबान ने तोड़ दिया था, okay, वो यहाँ पे लोकेटेड है. एंड ऑल्सो गांधारा स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट अपने हिस्ट्री में पढ़ा होगा. द टू स्कूल्स ऑफ बुद्धिज्म आर्ट, एक है मथुरा स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट इंडिया में है, दूसरा है गांधारा स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट. गांधारा इज नथिंग बट कांदाहार. सो दिस इज द स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड ऑफ द तालिबान. एंड ऑल्सो जब प्लेन हाईजैक हुआ था इंडिया का, वो कांदाहार ही गया था. सो दैट्स ऑल्सो इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. And you have a location called as Zaranj over here. So यहाँ पे ईरान में, so on this side you have this Iran. So in Iran you have this Chabahar port. So India has been constructing this port. So India से अपना सामान सीधा Chabahar port में जाएगा. And there is a connection between Chabahar and Zaranj. And India is also planning to connect all these important cities. And one more important city here is Mazar-e-Sharif or north में, and also you have one more important city here called as Herat. So please remember these cities. Now the UPSC can also ask some of the important groups which are active over here. Terrorist groups कहाँ पे कौन सा active है ये भी पूछता है. We have this Islamic State Khorasan province. Now they have been demanding for Greater Khorasan. So it has emerged in 2014. So यहाँ पे तहरीक तालिबान पाकिस्तान है, तालिबान भी है, एंड अल कायदा फाइटर्स भी है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द डेडलीस्ट. तो इसका इम्पैक्ट मीन्स ये स्लो डाउन भी हो रहा है, मतलब यहाँ से बहुत ज़्यादा फाइटर्स नहीं है, बट इट इज़ लार्जेस्ट एंड मोस्ट पावरफुल टेररिस्ट ग्रुप इन अफगानिस्तान बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स लीथल एक्टिविटी. मीन्स ये बहुत ही डेंजरस ग्रुप है. सो ये ध्यान रखना है. नेक्स्ट हफीज़ सैयद, ओके, लश्कर-ए-तौबा आपने सुनाया होगा. So this is a Pakistani militant group, but again it has become active in Afghanistan as well. So during the Soviet time, it has established the Afghan linkages. And post 2021 means जब तालिबान पावर में आया था, so Taliban has cracked down on this ideology. क्योंकि जो तालिबान की ideology है, वो दियोबंदी ideology है, दियोबंद school, which has been influenced by India. And ये जो लश्कर-ए-तौबा है, हफीज़ सैयद है, so it has been influenced by the Salafi school. So Salafi and Deobandi, they are different, little bit different. I'll explain you. Next you have this important group called as Jaish-e-Mohammed. So this is Azhar. So this guy is also one of the wanted terrorists in India. So it is a Pakistani Deobandi group. ये ध्यान रखना, ये वाला जो है सलाफी है, ये वाला है तो दियोबंदी ग्रुप है. So this group has got a lot of interest in Kashmir. So that's why it is important. And Afghanistan Taliban supports this Jaish-e-Mohammed because they also belong to the Deobandi school. Now what is the major difference between this Deobandi school and Salafi school? So Salafi school is kind of hardcore. They don't accept others. ओके, जितने भी लोग ओके उनके हार्डकोर प्रिंसिपल्स में नहीं मानते हैं, सो वो काफ़ी डिक्लेयर कर देते हैं. तो रिजेक्ट एनी अदर, दे रिजेक्ट सूफिज्म and kick to label others as deviant. Okay, so this is kind of a hardcore. So this school of thought has been followed by Al Qaeda, ISIS, etc. Next you have Deobandi school. So it follows Hanafi school. So this has originated in India. So India में Deobandi school originate हुआ है. So that's why when the Taliban foreign minister has come to India, okay, he has visited Deobandi school. So in this context I am telling you what are the important schools of thought in Islam and which group follows which school of thought. So this is important. Now what has happened recently? So India has upgraded its technical mission to embassy status. Once India told that it will be establishing an embassy in Afghanistan, and also commenced India-Afghanistan air freight corridor, because India has a lot of strategic interest in Afghanistan. क्यों? For counter-terrorism. Just now I told you so many important groups. Masood Azhar का group है, Hafiz Syed का group है. So they have got a lot of interest in India, especially in the Kashmir part. So इन सबको अगर आपको counter करना है, if Afghan soil should not be used against India, then our cooperation with Taliban becomes very important. And also geopolitical balancing. See, earlier the Taliban and Pakistan were good friends, but not now. So that's why an enemy of an enemy is a friend. So since Taliban is the enemy of Pakistan, so India has become friends with Taliban. So that's why it is important. This is geopolitical balancing, and moreover we want to have a presence in Central Asia also, because Central Asia is extremely mineral rich and India is planning to get a lot of minerals from this region. So that's why Afghanistan becomes important. And also India has invested a lot, around 3 billion India has invested in Afghanistan. Such as India has constructed the Garland Road. So just now we have discussed this Chabahar port. So from Kandla or Bombay we can go to Chabahar. From Chabahar we can go to Zaranj, and from Zaranj Delaram, Herat, Kandahar, Kabul, Mazar-e-Sharif. So we can connect all the important cities over here. So remember all these city names. So we can do good trade with Afghanistan. And also India has built a dam called as Salma Dam in Herat. So that remember this, rest of the things you can forget, just remember Salma Dam. And just now you have seen Zaranj Delaram highway. So it's a highway which connects Afghan to Iranian borders, and it will be connecting with Chabahar port. That's why it is important. And Chabahar port, which you have already discussed. Rest of the things you can ignore. So next important event which happened in the month of October is the visit of Russian government head to India, that is Putin. So here you can see the Russia is the third largest exporter of arms in the world. So this is not that important, but this is important. If not for Russia-Ukraine war, India would have been the top importers of the arms in the world. You can see the world share also. So difference is not much between Ukraine and India, and without war, India would be the top most importer of the world. Because in the examination they can give a statement saying that after Make in India, after indigenization of defense equipment in India, India's share in the world's imports have been reduced drastically. India is not the top importer in the world, like that. These kind of statements they can give. Don't get misled by such kind of statements. So next one here, from which countries India imports? This is next most important thing. So from Russia, India imports around 36 to 38% of defense equipment. No, but in the next slide I will show you. So from Russia earlier we used to import around 70%, not many years ago. So now it has been reduced to 36 to 38%. And France 30 to 33%. It is because of the Rafale, okay, the Scorpion class submarines and other major deals. Next, USA. So earlier, okay, around like 15 years ago, the defense imports from USA was almost zero, but now it has been increasing. So you have this, heavy duty helicopters like, these Chinook helicopters, and we are getting aircrafts, etc. Next, from Israel. Now people will think that from Israel, our imports have been increasing because given this India-Israeli relations, okay, on the social media and all, if a statement is given saying that the defense imports from Israel have been increasing over a period of time, it is not so. It's not the case. So don't get trapped over there. So remember Russia because of the India-Russia relationship. So remember this. Now you can see the share of Russia earlier, it was 70%, 2010 to 2014, but now it has come to 30%. Okay, so Israel's share has slightly dipped actually in the very latest period. So don't assume that it has increased. Now France has been the biggest gainer here. Okay, and India has become the largest single consumer of French arms exports. Now USA was almost near zero, but now it has increased to double digit. So what is the big picture over here? So India is still one of the world's top 2 arm importers, but total imports have slightly declined. You can see here, there's a slight decline in the total imports because of Make in India program. So if in examination they're saying that because of Make in India, the imports have drastically declined, that's a wrong statement, only slightly declined. Okay. So why India is doing this? Why India is moving away from Russia? Because it is sourcing from multiple countries, because we should not be dependent upon one single country. Next, coming to Russia again, the oil imports become very important. So around like 5 years ago, from Russia, the oil imports towards India was almost zero, but now it has increased to 36%. And Russia has become the top exporter of oil, crude oil, to India because of Russia-Ukraine war. So when the Russia-Ukraine war was happening, a lot of sanctions have been imposed by USA on Russia. So the Europe used to be the largest consumer of Russian oil and gas, but the Europe has declined Russian oil and gas because of the sanctions by the USA. Now, okay, Russia has to sell it to someone. So that is when the India has struck a deal with Russia. Now, India has become the largest importer of Russian oil. So that's why it is very important. Now, okay, other 4 you may or may not remember, okay, because Iraq, Saudi, UAE, so these are more or less present in the top 5. But USA here plays a very important role here. Now, USA, like after 2014, the USA started exporting the oil. So before 2014, the USA used to be the importer of the oil. वो पहले oil import करता था, लेकिन अभी export करने लगा. क्यों? Because the USA started exploring its own shale gas reserves. The shale matlab, okay, so it's a gas plus oil which is trapped in the sedimentary rocks. So generally, okay, आपकी जो oil है समंदर से निकलती है, okay, लेकिन तो समंदर में जो एंटीक्लाइन्स होता है, okay, एंटीक्लाइन्स means this. So this is a sedimentary rock. So here you will get the oil. Generally you get it from the continental shelf. समंदर से मिलता है, and समंदर के पास वाला एरिया में भी मिलता है. Okay, if you are finding it in the ocean from the continental shelf, it is called as offshore, and if you are finding it on the land, okay, where the sea was present earlier, it is called as onshore. So offshore, onshore are totally different from the shale. The shale is found in the sedimentary basins. So USA started exploring its own shale gas reserves. That's why instead of the world's top importer, now it has become exporter. So India started importing even US's oil. So this also shows the influence of USA, okay, on the India's foreign affairs. And now the Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on India to reduce the oil imports from Russia. So we have slightly reduced now, okay, the oil imports from Russia. So keep this in mind. So next, one more area of cooperation between India and Russia is the nuclear power. So India has the nuclear power stations at 7 locations. Only at one location, okay, you have the Russia-backed, okay, the Russia-supported nuclear power plant, that is the Kudankulam nuclear power plant. So this is the location. So it is, okay, near Gulf of Mannar. So the Kudankulam power plant, okay, it operates on PLWR technology, pressurized light water reactor. It's also called as VVER. And rest of the reactors in India are pressurized heavy water reactors. So this is heavy water and this is light water. So light water is the Russian technology. Next, okay, this location is Tirunelveli. So I told you VVER. So the planned capacity is 6,000 megawatts, but as of now you only have 2,000 megawatts, which is under operation. So rest of the details you can ignore, okay, when it has been commenced and what is the future operation, etc. You can ignore. Just remember Kudankulam, Russian reactor, which is in Tamil Nadu. That's it. The rest of the information, okay, it's useless for the examination, but just in case if you want to know, if you want to keep in mind, okay, when it has started, okay, when the next reactors are going to commence, okay, what is this criticality, which you will study in science and technology, etc. And anyways, I'll tell you, criticality means the reactor becomes automated. Means till the criticality, from outside you have to support the reactor for the nuclear fission reaction to happen. But once the criticality is achieved, the reactor operates on its own. So that is the criticality. Now one more area where Russia is important to India is international north-south transport corridor. So the plan is, if you want to send something to Russia, or if you want to send the goods to the Europe, means this part of the Europe, then earlier we dependent upon, okay, this Bab-el-Mandeb, this Suez Canal, Mediterranean, Strait of Gibraltar, and this was a long route. But this is the short route. So from India, the goods will be going to Bandar Abbas. Okay, so this Bandar Abbas is in Iran, and we are also constructing one more port called as Chabahar port, just beside the Pakistani border here. So from Bandar Abbas, okay, the goods will be going to Azerbaijan, okay, and then it will go to Moscow, and then they will go to St. Petersburg. So this is international north-south transport corridor. And one more area where Russia can help India is the Northern Sea route. Again, this red color sea route which you see, it is a shorter route as compared to this existing route. So here the China will also play a very important role, and in the Northern Sea, that is in the Arctic, during winters it becomes very difficult because the surface is frozen. So you have to break the sea. So before your cargo ship, a icebreaker will be moving, and Russia is developing a technology, means already it has developed, to break this ice. Means before your cargo ship, your icebreakers will be running, and they'll be cutting the ice, and they'll be making a path for your ship. And these icebreakers are nuclear powered. So that is where, okay, the Russia can play a very important role. And third one, Okay, we have also signed an agreement, okay, for the sea route between Chennai to Vladivostok, because India has got a lot of interest in the eastern region of Russia. The eastern region of Russia has a lot of minerals. So India is signing deals with Russia to explore these minerals in the eastern part of Russia. So that is where this route, sea route, will be playing an important role. So we can exploit the minerals in the eastern part of Russia and then get them back to India. Okay, this has been very recently signed. To keep this in mind, this location Vladivostok is very important. It is also one of the important cities in the eastern part of Russia. So next, so USA and Egypt co-hosted the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. The Sharm el-Sheikh is in Egypt. Again, this has been in the news. Now, we will know some of the important locations here in Gaza. So, better I will show you these through maps. Now, Gaza is also called as open jail. You can see the location here. So, this is the Gaza. Means, see, Gaza is completely surrounded by Israel. So, this is all Israel. Now, for goods, for supplies, etc. So, Gaza is entirely dependent on the mercy of Israel. Okay, so most of the border is walled. There's a big wall, but there are some crossings over here. So, these crossings are important. So, this Erez crossing, please you remember, it's here. On the other side, it's into Israel. And you have one more crossing called as Kerem Shalom crossing. Again, it's into Israel. And here you have one more crossing called as Rafah crossing. The Rafah crossing is into Egypt. So, Gaza and Egypt, okay, have a little bit of cardial relations, because the group which is in Gaza, okay, has got affiliations with the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So, Muslim Brotherhood, okay, is one of the Salafist groups which has been active in the Egypt. So, it supports the group which is in Gaza. So, these three crossings are important. And of course, the Gaza city is there, which has been bombed by Israel, okay, during the so-called war, which is one-sided. And also you have this Khan Yunis. So, these are some of the important cities which you can remember. Okay. So, I have covered Rafah crossing, Erez crossing, which you have seen, Kerem Shalom crossing, etc. And also you have this Salah Andin gate, okay, which is not that important. You can remember this. And some of the important cities, anyways, Rafah you have seen, Khan Yunis you have seen, and okay, Beit Hanun. You can remember, not remember, not that important. But Rafah and Khan Yunis you remember. The rest of the things you can ignore. So these are the important cities, okay. You can have a look here. Rafah, Khan Yunis, you can ignore that. Gaza city, I told you this Beit Hanun, and Deir al-Bala. Okay, this is one of the important ports also. So remember these. Okay, Gaza, anyways, you remember. You see here, you see the location of the Israel, a location of the Gaza Strip. Now, the Gaza Strip and West Bank, these both are called as the Palestine, and rest is all Israel. And you see here, you see something in blue color over here. So this is the Dead Sea. So Dead Sea also has the deepest point, not deepest, okay, lowest point on the surface of the earth. And here you have one more lake. This is the Sea of Galilee. It's called the Sea of Galilee. Also, it is called as Lake Tiberias. Now, between the West Bank and Jordan, one more country, Jordan, you have this Jordan River. So, this is Jordan River. Now, why this is called as West Bank? You might be confused, that it is in the eastern part of the Israel. So it should be called as East Bank or something of that sort. It is because of the river Jordan. So this river Jordan is flowing in the Rift Valley. The source of river Jordan is the Sea of Galilee. Again in the northern part over here, so here you have Golan Heights. So Golan Heights, it used to belong to Syria, but again it has been occupied by Israel. So it is a high vantage point. मीन्स अगर आप गोलन हाइट्स के ऊपर बैठोगे आपको पूरा एरिया दिखाई देगा. So it is a volcanic plateau. It is also the source of some of the important rivers over here. Means छोटे मोटे rivers है, desert है, ज़्यादा rivers नहीं होंगे. So we can say it is one of the important sources of water there. So आप गोलन हाइट्स के ऊपर बैठोगे तो आपको मतलब न किसी को शूट करना है, मिसाइल फेंकना है या किसी का सर्वेलेंस करना है और सब बहुत ईजी हो जाएगा. So that's why it is important and Israel has taken over that. Israel is controlling Golan Heights which has been already asked in the examination. यहाँ पे जितने भी चीज़ें हैं मैप में मीन्स इनको छोड़ के बाकी सब चीज़ें एग्जाम में पूछा गया है एंड फिर भी वो पूछेगा. Okay? So Dead Sea also has very high salinity, around 350 to 400 salinity है. So इतना ज़्यादा salinity क्यों है यहाँ पे? क्योंकि Dead Sea is located in the desert and desert में water का source नहीं होता. So there is no one to dilute the Dead Sea. And secondly, since it is a desert, the temperature will also be high and the rate of evaporation is also high. So evaporated हो रहा है बहुत सारा and dilution कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. इसलिए Dead Sea में salinity बहुत ज़्यादा है. And Dead Sea में, okay, if you go and sleep, you will float very easily because of this Archimedes principle. Because the water is very heavy over there. So that's why you float. So these are some of the important locations over here. So this is a location of the Golan Heights, belongs to Syria, Jordan River, Dead Sea, and Gulf of Aqaba. Remember this Gulf of Aqaba. Gulf of Aqaba is important because here you have a city called as Aqaba, and Aqaba belongs to Jordan. See, earlier all these lands used to belong to Jordan. Means जितना भी यहाँ पे आप land देख रहे हो, and once upon a time even the Sinai Peninsula, it used to belong to Jordan. And Jordan का राजा बहुत दयालु था. And when the Britishers have come and told the king of Jordan that see the Jews are being persecuted, they are being killed in Europe, so उनके लिए थोड़ा सा जगह दे दो. So जॉर्डन का राजा ने मान लिया. So Jews को थोड़ा सा जगह दे दिया यहाँ पे टेल अवीव में पहले. Okay, they were restricted to coast only. So gradually these Jews started spreading and they have cornered the Philistines, the localites over here. And now the local Muslim population, or you can say the local Levant people. Levant means the people who are on the eastern side of the Mediterranean, or you can say local Arabs. So local Arabs, they have been marginalized and they have been restricted to the West Bank and Gaza. So that is what you see nowadays, okay, the clash between the Israel and Gaza. So these are some of the important locations. And why I am saying this, because see, once upon a time the Jordan used to have all these lands. Means Jordan used to have the access to the entire sea here. अभी देखो जॉर्डन को बस एक छोटा सा जगह मिल गया. Means it has only one port. It has access to the sea but through a very small port called as Gulf of Aqaba or Aqaba port. So that is the story here. So that's why it is very important. And the Aqaba also has been asked in the examination. So next, okay, some of the important cities here. Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is very important for the Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Means तीनों religions का एक important sacred place है. Then Tel Aviv. So Tel Aviv, it is a major economic hub. Basically, it's a capital. सो कैपिटल होगा तो टेक्नोलॉजिकल हब होगा, मेजर कॉमर्स हब होगा. Now Haifa is one of the important ports and industrial cities, so very important city. And Ashdod is also one of the important cities here. So this has been hit by the missile strikes from Gaza. So remember Ashdod, Haifa, and of course Golan Heights you have seen. I told you the important story of Golan Heights. So I'll show you these locations here. Jordan River I have told you. So Jordan River starts from Sea of Galilee, also called as Mount Hermon. Next, Dead Sea, I have shown you the Dead Sea. Some of the important ports, okay, is Tel Aviv Port, Airport, and Raman Airport, which is near Eilat. I'll show you all this, and Haifa Airport. So remember this. See, you have this Eilat, E-I-L-A-T. So यहाँ पे located है south में, in Gulf of Aqaba. So through Gulf of Aqaba, it will be having access to the Red Sea. See, देखो, once upon a time, okay, all these lands used to belong to Jordan. The Jordan has been marginalized, and देखो Israel कितना चालू है. तो Israel ने, it has taken a coast on the Mediterranean Sea, a very big coast, and it also has access towards the Red Sea. इतना चालू है, okay. Now you have seen this city Ashdod. If it is not visible, I'll write Ashdod. See, Ashdod, it has been severely affected by the strikes from Gaza. That's why it is very important. And one more important port in the north is Haifa. So remember this. Okay, Haifa remember, Ashdod remember, and Eilat. Okay. It is because it has been hit. It is in the north and it is in the south. Of course, Tel Aviv you will remember. So rest of these cities you can ignore, because UPSC also has this trend of asking some of the important cities. So it will be giving you the list of the cities. Either it will ask you to match with the countries, or it will be asking you to arrange the cities from north to south. That's why location भी ध्यान रखना है. And this is the West Bank. You can see the Jordan River over here. Sea of Galilee दिख रहा है आपको, Dead Sea दिख रहा है. So Jordan में, sorry, यहाँ पे आप जेरूसलम याद रखना है, and एक रामल्ला city है. So these two cities are very important in West Bank. So you have seen important cities in Gaza. You have seen important cities in West Bank, and also you have seen important cities in Israel. Okay. Next, so look at this location over here. So this is your Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Indonesia, and Timor-Leste. So Timor-Leste is also called as East Timor. Now Indonesia is Indonesians largely follow Islam. So इस तरफ है Islam. Now this island over here, the eastern part of the Timor Island, the people here follow Christianity. So this is a basis on which this country has been separated, because it follows Christianity. That's why till very recently it is not part of the ASEAN. So in ASEAN you have 10 countries, in which Timor-Leste, though it is in the same region, it is not part of ASEAN, but recently it has become the 11th member of ASEAN. So that's what is important, remember. Now why it was not included? Because of Christianity, religious differences. वो खुले में कोई नहीं बोलेगा, मैं बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि आपको थोड़ा लॉजिक समझना चाहिए. Okay. Next, again, Mongolia. So the India and Mongolia, okay, started having a lot of pacts. So the relationship is deepening. So that's why know where Mongolia is. So they can ask which desert is located in Mongolia. Gobi Desert. So यहाँ पे capital का नाम भी याद रखना, Ulaanbaatar. Just remember the capital, remember the desert, and how many countries are surrounding Mongolia. So this can also become important. So on this side you have Kazakhstan, on the north you have Russia, and the south you have China. Just remember these three things. Next, Xinjiang region. Now you see, this is Xinjiang province of Myanmar. And the two more provinces, Chin province and Kachin province. So the Chin province, Xinjiang province and Kachin province. So they border India. Okay, this question can be asked. The Rakhine province does not border India. Now why this Rakhine province is important? Because Rakhine province has Rohingyas. So Rohingyas are Muslims in a Buddhist majority country. So Myanmar has Buddhist majority. So Rohingyas are Muslim. Therefore, they have been persecuted in Myanmar. Therefore, the Rohingyas have to flee for their life. And कुछ Rohingyas चले गए बांग्लादेश में, कुछ Rohingyas आ गए इंडिया में. So आपने देखा होगा कि few years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, okay, in these news channels, okay, Rohingya आतंकी आ रहे हैं, आपको मार देंगे, आप खतरे में हैं, etc. Okay, so that's why it is very important. So Rakhine province. So UPSC can give a statement saying that Rohingyas are Muslims from the Rakhine province. आपको क्या क्लिक होगा? अरे इंडिया में बहुत सारे Rohingyas आ गए. And next statement which they will be giving is the Rohingya province of Myanmar has a border with India. So ऐसे convincing statements UPSC will give. So don't get confused there. So which three states, okay, or provinces of Myanmar are bordering India? The Chin, Xinjiang and Kachin. Now why this Xinjiang region is in the news? See, after the fall of democracy in Myanmar, the military junta has taken over. The military junta has taken over. Now there have been protests all over Myanmar, means against this military junta. Protest हुए थे. But this Xinjiang province जो है ना, it has difficult terrain, it is forested. And this province has revolted against the military junta. Means, अब उनके पास जो भी हथियार थे, okay, like, छोटा मोटा agricultural equipments. So उनको लेके they started attacking the Myanmarese army, military junta को अटैक करने लगा. एंड यहाँ पे कोई सेंट्रल लीडरशिप नहीं है. मीन्स कभी कभी एक गांव उठ के जाता था, जाके अटैक करके आता था. एंड दे आर वेरी वेल वर्स्ड इन गोरिल्ला वॉरफेयर. एंड मिलिट्री जनता को इनको पकड़ना बहुत मुश्किल होता था, बिकॉज जब भी मिलिट्री जनता आती थी ये लोग कहीं जाके छुप जाते थे, जंगल है, पहाड़ है, सो इनको पकड़ना मुश्किल है. सो इट हैज बिकम ए टर्मोइल. सो यहाँ पे बहुत सारा लोकल वॉरफेयर होने लगा. सो दैट्स व्हाई द Xinjiang province is important. Now why it is important for India? Because if these kind of things escalate, then Xinjiang, okay, will go completely out of control of the Myanmar. And the terrorist groups, okay, or the armed groups which have been active in India, they can go and take refuge in Xinjiang province. आपने देखा होगा रिसेंटली फैमिली मैन सीजन 3. सो वहाँ पे जो कुछ टेररिस्ट ग्रुप्स है जो इंडिया में बॉम्बिंग वगैरह करते हैं और दे कॉज दिस आर्म्ड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, दे गो एंड हाइड इन Xinjiang और म्यांमार में जाके हाइड करते हैं, राइट. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस प्रोविंस इज इंपॉर्टेंट एंड दिस इज द स्टोरी बिहाइंड इट. एंड ऑल्सो रिमेंबर चिन कैचिन. ओके, चिन कैचिन से भी इंडिया में इन्फिल्ट्रेशन हो सकता है. सो दिस आर द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स. Okay, anyways, I've explained you the story here. So it is also one of the important smuggling routes towards India. So these are the various provinces of Myanmar. Okay. So remember Chin, Sangyang and Kachin. So next, this is the Madagascar, and recently the gang wars have increased in Madagascar. And because of the Gen Z protests, so nowadays the Gen Z protests have become very prominent. Even today, yesterday, and for a few days, there have been a lot of Gen Z protests in India also against the destruction of the Aravallis. So, because of the Gen Z protests, a lot of governments have to come down in the world. So, that's why they are very important. And because of the Gen Z protests, the president has to step down in Madagascar. That's why it is very important. Know the location of the Madagascar and the water body which is separating the Madagascar from Africa. This is Africa, by the way. This is called as Mozambique Channel. Why it is called as Mozambique Channel? Because of the country called as Mozambique. And here you see islands over here. So you have one country here called as Comoros. So remember this also. Anyways, on this side you have this Mauritius. So this is Mauritius. And you have numerous islands over here. Here you have Seychelles. Okay. Also remember the capital of Madagascar. Okay, is mentioned over here. Also remember this. So this is the news here. Madagascar government toppled amid Gen Z protests as president flees the country. So that's why this is in the news. Now, why the Gen Z protests have started? Again, it is not very important for the prelims, just as a pattern, Means, everything seems to be fine, but one fine day, the people will erupt, their anger will become out of control, and it will lead to stepping down of the government. Now, सब कुछ आपको normal दिखेगा. Means Madagascar में भी, okay, even in Nepal, Sri Lanka, everywhere, even Bangladesh, okay, things were very normal, pretty normal. But कुछ simmering issues होते हैं. So बहुत सारे दिनों से, okay, from a very long time, you will have these issues such as high unemployment, rising prices, corruption, collapsed education, health services. So these are all the underlying causes. So people will know that these things have been happening, but they'll be staying quiet. But one single incident is sufficient enough to trigger a very large movement. And what was this trigger? Chronic electricity blackouts. अभी Gen Z क्या है? Okay, वो लोग बहुत active है. And this Gen Z, okay, this generation is not much attached with the parochial ideas. मतलब इनको ज़्यादा रिलीजन या एथनिक आइडेंटिटी ये सब चीज़ों से ये थोड़ा दूर है. So you cannot mobilize the Gen Z on these kind of things. So what they want, because they'll be wanting all this, right? They want jobs, the prices should be low, the corruption should be low. And one day there was serious blackout and there was water shortage and all of them have come out on the streets and the government was toppled. And this movement is called as the Gen Z Mada movement. See, once in UPSC they have asked, what is Arab Spring? So this Ghana region, West Asia and North Africa. So most of these countries were ruled by military dictators for a very long time or strongmen for a very long time. Means 30-40 साल तक वो एक ही बंदा रूल कर रहा था. Now, in Tunisia, एक vegetable seller, उसके ऊपर बहुत सारा कर्ज था, unemployed था. So in the marketplace उसने अपने आप को खुद को जला लिया था. Then that was the trigger point. अभी ये एक बंदा जल के मर गया, सारे लोग आके प्रोटेस्ट चालू कर दिया ट्यूनिशिया में. So पहले गवर्नमेंट टॉपल हुआ ट्यूनीशिया में. So this happened way back in 2011. And this was called as Arab Spring. So from Tunisia, it has spread to Algeria. Then it has spread to Libya. Libya से Egypt. Egypt से Syria भी पहुंचा था, but not that successful. Okay. Then from there, it has spread to Bahrain also, but again, it is not that successful over there. So it has led to toppling of the government. So UPSC has asked such things. So nowadays the Gen Z protests have become very prominent, and this Gen Z protest has got a name called as Gen Z Mada. So that's why it is important. So background story मैं सब क्यों बता रहा हूँ? क्योंकि आपको importance समझना चाहिए. Means why you have to remember the name. See, I believe that, okay, not just mugging up things, okay, but only if you understand the essence of it. Means एक चीज कितने सारे और चीजों को ट्रिगर करेगा. अगर आप ये जानोगे, then आप उसका importance भी समझोगे. Then such kind of things will be asked in examination. So way back in 2011, the UPSC has asked about the Arab Springs. Now, okay, this is the related question, so it might also ask you this thing. Okay, remember this. Next one is the Sao Tome and Principe. It's a country. It's located in the Central African island nation. So here it is located. This is Africa. So the entire territory has been designated as Biosphere Reserve. So because it is over the equator will be passing through this equatorial Guinea. So when you are on the equator, the biodiversity will be very high. And the natural law is when you go from the equator towards the poles, the biodiversity generally reduces. Okay. Now why it is in the news? Because the cold desert, this has been declared as 13th Biosphere Reserve, which is part of World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Now India has total 18 biosphere reserves. Out of 18, 13 has been in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Now instead of remembering which all are part of World Network of Biosphere Reserves, remember which is not part of Biosphere Reserves. So Kutch, Sheshachalam, Dibru Saikova, Manas, Dibbang Dehang. So these are not part of. So you can make an acronym of your choice, say KSDMD, something of that sort. So you can make an acronym of yourself, or you can go with this. You can, if you are good with the maps and all, you can go with this. Something of this sort. A line of arc goes like this. Something of this sort. So you can remember it this way. Also you can remember in this way. So in the northeastern region, in the Seven Sisters, No Creek is not part of. No Creek. So N is not there. You can remember it this way. And Sheshachalam is the newest biosphere reserve. So Sheshachalam has been the 18th biosphere reserve of India. It's comparatively new, so it is not part of. And Kutch. Okay, remember this. Now, talking about the biosphere reserves, the cold desert biosphere reserve. So it is located in Laol Spiti region. So you have this middle Himalayas like this, then you have the great Himalayas, and beyond this you have this trans Himalayas. In trans Himalayas you have this Janskar, Ladakh and Karakoram ranges. So this is great Himalayas, this is middle Himalayas. So beyond middle Himalayas and great Himalayas, the rainfall is low. So it will be having low rainfall, because the middle Himalayas will be having a height of around 4,000. So the rain bearing vents, they won't be able to cross this middle Himalayas and give rainfall on the other side. So other side will be rain shadow region. So it is comparatively dry. And for the most of the year, except the summer months, it is almost frozen. It's very cold. So it has become the 13th UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, okay, which comes under World Network. So this conference has happened in Hangzhou, China. You can remember this way. Now, one more question which they can ask in the exam is, the cold desert biosphere reserve also extends into Ladakh. No, it is wrong. It is there in Himachal Pradesh only, Laol, Spiti. Now, in this cold desert biosphere reserve, one very important national park is Pin Valley National Park. Remember this? And if you want to remember, you can also remember Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary, but again that is not that important. Remember this only, Pin Valley National Park. Now, location I told you, it is Laol, Spiti and parts of Kinnaur district also. Trans Himalayas, rain shadow region, and it will be having very low precipitation. So, technically what is a desert? So, any geographical region which receives less than 25 centimeter of rainfall can be declared as a desert. Okay, this is the cold desert, not the hot desert. So, you can look at the altitude over here, okay, not that important. So, these are some of the important things. So, remember Himachal, it does not extend into Ladakh, it is a rain shadow region. Now, what is it famous for? So, it will be having alpine steppe vegetation. See, in winters, so this will be covered by snow, and during summers, when the snow melts, there will be water and there will be sunlight. So, because of this, you will be having ephemeral vegetation. Ephemeral means you will be having seasonal vegetation. You will be having seasonal grasses. So, this alpine steppe vegetation are also called as alpine meadows. So, this is according to the altitude, but this alpine meadows or alpine vegetation is also found across the latitudes. So, when you cross this 60 degree to 70 degree latitude north in the northern hemisphere, you will also find this alpine vegetation. So, you will be having seasonal grasses. Now, the UPSC is very famous for asking some of the important species which are found in this region. Okay, whenever such kind of national parks or anything comes in the news, so they will also ask about the species. So, you have this species called as Ephedra. So, what you have to remember here, what is the relevance of this? So, it has been earlier used as weight loss drugs, and also it is acting as sports supplements, and any other benefit, any other use if it is mentioned, agree to it. Okay. So, it will increase the alertness, that is why it is also used for the sports. So, this might become important because nowadays this GLP-1, this Ozempic, Monjaro, so these have become very famous. These are these wonder loss drugs used by this Karan Johar, who is that guy, serial guy who has become very famous. I can't recollect, Ram Kapoor, yeah. So, because of all these people, okay, these things have become very famous. So, remember this species. And second, Rhodiola, one more species. Again, it improves mental focus, endurance, etc. And nowadays, it is also used in lot of stress management. So, that's why it is very important. So, anxiety हो रहा है, आपको depression हो रहा है, so this can be used. So remember this. And one more is aconitum. So aconitum is extremely poisonous. So that's why you should be remembering this. Okay, just remember aconitum, where it is found. So what can be the use? So earlier it was used in Ayurveda, homeopathy for pain. Next, one of the very important species which is here is snow leopard. Now, the snow leopard, according to the IUCN status, it is vulnerable. So once in UPSC, the IUCN status has been asked. Now, why it was asked? Because of the various efforts, various projects like snow leopard, the population of the snow leopard has increased. So it has moved from endangered to vulnerable category. Means its population has been improved. So if any such situation is there, then only UPSC will be asking. So don't just blindly mug up the IUCN status of all the species. You may not remember it. Now why it is important? Because it is the top predator, apex predator of this ecosystem. Now where all it will live? Okay, these are the location. So basically wherever you have this Himalayas, generally okay, of 3000 above 3500. So wherever you will be having snow, you will be finding this snow leopard. So next, second most top predator here is Tibetan wolf. Again, it will be keeping the population under check because it is also one of the predator. Next is Himalayan ibex. So it is a primary prey for snow leopard and it is an indicator of alpine grassland. Indicator means only when you have this healthy alpine grassland, you will be finding this species and this will be living on the slopes. It's an excellent climber. Next, Kiang, also called as wild ass. Once UPSC has asked the wild ass species of run of Kutch. Okay, so correlated to that is also this. So it is also symbol of Tibetan plateau. It is endemic to Tibetan plateau and it is highly cold and drought tolerant. Next you have Tibetan argali and it is largest wild sheep species. So major prey birds for carnivores such as snow leopard and Tibetan wolf, and this is found in Ladakh, Trans-Himalayas, and it will be requiring a large landscape. I told you I will be telling about black-necked crane. It is also state animal, means union territory animal of this Ladakh. So it will be in high altitude. So the log wahan pe mante hai isko, that's why it has got cultural significance also. And its IUCN status is vulnerable. So it breeds in high altitude wetlands. It is migratory in nature. So next, okay, see, okay, UPSC does not just focus. See, one or two statements can be about the cold desert, but also it can ask other questions. Other two statements can be about other biosphere reserves. So these are the other biosphere reserves. Okay, some of the important ones in India. So आपका revision भी हो जाएगा biosphere reserves का. Now this Panna biosphere reserve. Now why it is significant? Because earlier here the tiger population was very less, and because of the measures taken by the government, the tiger population has revived. So that's why it's important. So once it was declared that the tigers were extinct in this area. Now it is important again for few more reasons, because in this region we have this Yamuna river and this is Ken river, Betwa river, and we are constructing a canal linking Ken to Betwa. So 50,000 crore spend करके केन से बेतवा को पानी भेज रहे हो, एंड पानी भेजने से पहले वहाँ पे पानी का स्टोरेज होना चाहिए. सो यहाँ पे आपने एक डैम बिल्ड किया कॉल्ड एज दाऊदान डैम. So because of the dam, a very large area of Panna biosphere reserve has been inundated, means वो डूब गया. So it is harmful for the tigers. So that's why it's also in the news. So remember this for that reason as well. Next is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Now why this is important? Because in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, So this is spanning across 2-3 states. And here you have numerous tiger reserves as well and national parks as well. ये तीनों states में फैलता है. And Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is also first biosphere reserve of India. So Karnataka में you have Bandipur, Nagarhole. So these are the tiger reserves and also national parks. In Tamil Nadu, you have this Mudumalai, Mukurti, Satyamangalam. So Satyamangalam, sometimes it is considered part of this Nilgiri, sometimes it is not considered. Again, they will not be asking you this. The famous question which can be asked from here is match the following. Means which national park or which tiger reserve belongs to which state. So in one side they will be giving this tiger reserves or national parks, on the other side they will give you the states and ask you to match the following, or they will ask which of the following, okay, how many of these are correct. Then in Kerala, okay, you may not remember all. See here in Tamil Nadu, remember Mudumalai, Satyamangalam, remember these two, at least remember Mudumalai. When it comes to Kerala, remember Wayanad. And Silent Valley National Park is also important because it has one of the thickest canopy, means यहाँ पे झाड़ means trees का density बहुत अच्छा है, canopy बहुत अच्छा है. And rest of the things you can ignore. Okay, remember these two. So remember this. So the information about Nilgiri is located there, and also the Biosphere Reserve. It is part of this UNESCO's MAB program. MAB means Man and Biosphere Reserve. Means earlier the thinking was, अभी wildlife and humans एक साथ नहीं रहना है. So wherever the wildlife is, it should be declared as a protected area, reserve area, wildlife sanctuary, or a national park. Means basically it was acting as a restricted zone or no go zone, no go area. लेकिन बाद में realize किया कि if you are separating humans from the nature, the nature will not be valued. अगर humans को लगता है जंगल को हमसे मतलब जंगल से हमको कोई फायदा नहीं है, then humans क्या करेगा, जंगल को काटेगा, wildlife को मारेगा. So that's why this program has been introduced. So you cannot separate, you cannot alienate the man and nature. So that's why this program MAB has been designed. So MAB में क्या होता है? So you'll be having humans as a part of the nature. You're not excluding the human from nature. You're including the human as a part of nature. That is the MAP program. And because of which the conservation, okay, the protection efforts, okay, they have increased. Now again, this is a map, which is located where I have mentioned all those. Of all these, remember this Nagarhole. So this is in Kerala. So Bandipura, this is in Karnataka. Remember only this. Mudumalai. Mudumalai is in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Again, when you come here, okay, they come into, and Mukurti, again this comes in Tamil Nadu. Of course, this is Tamil Nadu. So rest is all Kerala. This is all Kerala. Next, Gulf of Mannar. So this is also Biosphere Reserve. So Gulf of Mannar has lot of coral reefs. And this has lot of seagrass also. So seagrass मतलब इसको plant मत समझना, एक algae है. So this is an algae which will be growing in the sea. And this is a marine biosphere reserve. So sometimes they may ask you, all the biosphere reserves in India are located on land. The biosphere reserves do not exist in the sea. They can ask like this. No, it's a marine biosphere reserve. And it is very important because you have an animal called as dugong here. Dugong. It's also called as sea cow. Now this is a mammal, but still it feeds on the seagrass. Maybe that's the reason it's called cow, I don't know. Okay. But this dugong survives here. And this seagrass, this algae plays a very important role in carbon sequestration. Carbon sequestration means it will be storing the carbon. So it will be absorbing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, means atmosphere से पानी में जाएगा, पानी से grass में जाएगा. So it acts as a storage, reducing the CO2 levels, thereby helping us in global warming. Next, the Kutch. So Kutch, this is in Gujarat. Now why it is in the news? It is in the news because of various renewable energy projects. Now, okay, there is an idea that okay, राजस्थान का डेजर्ट पूरा खाली क्यों है? Okay, उसमें पेड़ क्यों नहीं गाड़ देते हो? उसके ऊपर आप पूरा सोलर पैनल्स क्यों नहीं बिछा देते हो? बिकॉज आपको लगता है कि डेजर्ट मतलब खाली है. नो, द डेजर्ट इकोसिस्टम इज ऑल्सो अ टाइप ऑफ इकोसिस्टम. सो वहाँ पे भी जानवर रहते हैं, वहाँ पे भी पेड़ रहते हैं. सो ईच एंड एवरी इकोसिस्टम हैज़ टू बी रेस्पेक्टेड. अब रन ऑफ कच्छ को देखेंगे, किसी को देखेगा तो ऐसे लगेगा कि ओके वहाँ पे क्या है, बंजर भूमि है, कुछ उगता नहीं है, पेड़ नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं होता है भाई. सॉल्ट मार्श मतलब वो भी एक तरीके का इकोसिस्टम है. सो वहाँ पे भी जानवर रहते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ओके यू हैव नील गाय, मे बी नॉट दैट इम्पॉर्टेंट. ओके यू हैव दिस वाइल्ड एस. दिस हैज बीन वंस आस्क्ड इन UPSC. And here you have one more species called as Kharai camel. So this has been once asked in UPSC. So Kharai camel, this is a camel which swims in the water. अब सब लोग सोचेंगे कैमल मतलब सिर्फ रेती में रहता है, डेजर्ट में रहता है. भाई यहाँ पे कैमल को अगर आप देखोगे वो क्या स्विम करता है भाई सी में. सो कैमल हैज अडेप्टेड टू सच सिचुएशन. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन UPSC. And of course, okay, during the seasonal, okay, monsoonal season, it gets filled with the water. Therefore, a lot of migratory birds also come here. And this Kutch is the largest biosphere reserve in area in terms of area. And it's a unique saline, okay, desert ecosystem. And what is the problem here? Infrastructure. A lot of infrastructure, okay, in terms of these solar power panels, wind turbines are being built here, so which will affect the wildlife in Kutch. That's why it is important. Next, Seshachalam. So Seshachalam is the 18th biosphere reserve of India. Again, to Seshachalam, okay, Seshachalam में आपकी तिरुपति भगवान भी है. And the Seshachalam, in Seshachalam, these red sanders are endemic in nature. Endemic means ये सिर्फ यही पाए जाते हैं और कहीं नहीं पाए जाते हैं. सो आपने पुष्पा मूवी देखा होगा तो आपको पता होगा रेड सैंडर्स क्या होता है. आई डोंट हैव टू टेल मच. नाउ डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज बिटवीन द रेड सैंडर्स एंड सैंडलवुड. द सैंडलवुड, okay, if this is a map of India, so this is the Western Ghats on this side. On this side you have the Eastern Ghats. So in Eastern Ghats you have red sanders. In Western Ghats you have sandalwood. So red sanders is dry deciduous. Dry deciduous. Whereas sandalwood is wet or moist deciduous. Means यहाँ पे रेनफॉल ज़्यादा होता है, यहाँ पे रेनफॉल कम होता है. ओके, वो पुष्पा का है, ये वीरप्पन का है. सो दोनों अलग अलग है. अभी लोग क्या है, कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. सो रेड सैंडर्स, सैंडलवुड, ओके, दोनों कंफ्यूज हो गए. इसलिए UPSC ने एक बार क्वेश्चन भी पूछा था. सी, आप जहाँ पे भी कंफ्यूज हो सकते हो ना, वहाँ पे UPSC बराबर क्वेश्चन पूछता है. इसलिए ऐसे चीज़ों को आपको ध्यान रखना है. सो ऐसे ग्राफिक्स या इमेजेस क्यों यूज़ करता हूँ, तो ये आपको याद रहे. नेक्स्ट, you have this Sundarbans. The Sundarbans is under threat because of the sea level rise. यहाँ पे cyclones बहुत सारे आते हैं. West Bengal coast is affected by a lot of cyclones, and the mangroves are also getting degraded here. And it is the largest mangrove ecosystem. So in Sundarbans, okay, means इंडिया में, पूरे इंडिया में अराउंड 5000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर्स का मैंग्रोव एरिया है. आउट ऑफ दिस 5000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर्स, 2000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर्स लोकेटेड इन सुंदरबंस ओनली. मतलब इंडिया का 40% of mangroves is located in Sundarbans, and the Royal Bengal tiger, which is present here, is the only tiger species which survives in the mangrove ecosystem. मतलब यहाँ पे पानी जो है brackish है, neither completely fresh water nor completely saline water. So next, one more important one is Dibru-Saikhowa National Park and also Dibru-Saikhowa Biosphere Reserve. So Dibru-Saikhowa Biosphere Reserve, it is in the upper Assam Valley. So in the upper Assam Valley, in this region, you have petroleum. And how come the petroleum has been formed here? Again, there's a different story. I will tell you in short. If you know this, well and good, or else I'll explain in geography classes. So when the Indian Peninsular Plateau was moving towards Eurasia, so this is Eurasia and this is the Indian Peninsular Plateau. And in between these two, you had this Tethys Sea. So when the Indian Peninsular Plateau was moving towards Eurasia, it was rolling, pitching, thawing, rolling, pitching, thawing. ऐसे ऐसे मूव कर रहा था. जब ऐसे मूव करेगा, देन ये वाला हिस्सा जो है ना, ये पानी के अंदर आ जाएगा. इस तरफ झुकेगा, ये वाला हिस्सा जो है पानी के अंदर आ जाएगा. सो पेट्रोलियम क्या है? पेट्रोलियम इज नथिंग बट फॉसिलिफाइड मेरीन लाइफ. जब मेरीन लाइफ मरने के बाद फॉसिलिफाई हो जाता है, तब आपका पेट्रोलियम बनता है. एंड सच काइंड ऑफ पेट्रोलियम विच हैज बीन फॉर्म्ड, ओके, इज associated with marine transgression. ट्रांसग्रेशन मतलब अंदर डूबना. सो इसलिए आपको इंडियन पेनिनसुलर की दोनों कोने में आपको पेट्रोलियम मिलता है. और एल्स पेट्रोलियम शुड बी यूजुअली फाउंड इन द सी, बट लैंड के ऊपर मिल रहा है. इसका मतलब यह है कभी ना कभी किसी ज़माने में यहाँ पे सी हुआ करता था. इसलिए राजस्थान में आपको पेट्रोलियम मिलता है, बाड़मेर में, एंड यहाँ पे अपर असम वैली में आपको पेट्रोलियम मिलता है. एंड दिस इज एसोसिएटेड विथ द मेरीन ट्रांसग्रेशन. मीन्स वंस अपॉन अ टाइम दिस रीजन वाज अंडर द सी. सो यू हैव सम ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट पेट्रोलियम wells such as, okay, in Naharkatia, okay, Dig Boy. So Dig Boy को नाम कैसे पता चला पता है? It was the first petroleum well in the India. So Britishers ने यहाँ पे खोज किया. So Britishers started drilling oil here. So पहले machines नहीं थे. So लोगों को ऐसे, अब जब बोरवेल जब मारते हो तो पानी आता है ना, so वैसे पहले यहाँ पे पेट्रोलियम निकालते थे. So Indians used to be employed. So they used to come and beat Indians and say dig boy, dig boy. So तब जाके पेट्रोलियम निकलता था and उसका नाम पड़ गया dig boy. अभी तक वो नाम है. Now in Dibru-Saikhowa, okay, this is also biosphere reserve. Now what is the concern here? Oil exploration. So it is in the upper Assam Valley. So you can see Brahmaputra river over here. So because of the river, you'll have seasonal flooding. And you see here, see यहाँ पे riverine island है. Means यहाँ पे देखो ब्रह्मपुत्र रिवर है, यहाँ पे भी रिवर है. So रिवर के बीच में जो है ना, यहाँ पे आइलैंड फॉर्म हो गया. So one of the last remaining grassland riverine ecosystems है. So because of the seasonal flooding, so जब भी ब्रह्मपुत्र में पानी ज़्यादा होता है, यहाँ पे flooding आती है, and the flood will bring a lot of silt means minerals लेके आता है. उसके कारण यहाँ पे grassland उगता है. So whenever you'll be having this seasonal water, flooded water, a lot of grass will also grow, and because of which the birds will also come. So note down two important species over here. I give in the pictures over here. So you have this feral horses. So these are the feral horses here, and also you have this white-winged duck. You can see here, white-winged duck. I actually put a lot of efforts to put all these pictures as a place, because जब भी आप कोई भी करंट अफेयर मैगजीन पढ़ते हो, सो मैगजीन्स में बोरिंग सा कंटेंट होता है, एंड बहुत सारा ढेर सारा कंटेंट देते हैं वहाँ पे. आपको पता नहीं चलता कि क्या पढ़ना है क्या नहीं पढ़ना है. सो इसीलिए मैंने सारी चीज़ें एक जगह दे रखी है, मैं आपको बता भी रहा हूँ कि क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है क्या इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, एंड इसके साथ मैं पिक्चर्स भी दे रहा हूँ। तो पिक्चर्स आप देखेंगे तो आपकी फोटोग्राफिक मेमोरी जो है वो स्ट्रांग हो जाएगी। दैट्स व्हाई आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग यू दिस। इफ यू वांट ओके दिस PPTs also, okay, if you want to study with the help of these PPTs, then okay, I'll be either putting under the description or you can ping me directly or you can comment below, I'll send you. Now next is the Manas. So Manas is also biosphere reserve. Now earlier it was under the threat of removal. Means agar see UNESCO will be designating a biosphere reserve in your country और रिकग्निशन देता है, उसके बाद भी अगर आप एफर्ट्स नहीं ले रहे हो देन वो और लिस्ट में से निकाल देगा। ओके, एंड ऑल्सो इफ ए कंट्री, इफ इंडिया फील्स दैट ओके यहाँ पे वाइल्ड लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, यहाँ पे ओके किसी का इंडस्ट्री इंपॉर्टेंट है या किसी को यहाँ पे आके कोल निकालना है, अगर आपको लगता है कि ओके कोई मिनरल एक्सट्रैक्शन इंपॉर्टेंट है या आपको वहाँ पे सिटी एरिया एक्सपेंड करना है, आपको अगर लगता है देन यू कैन ऑल्सो रिमूव, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। सो सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस ऑल्सो यूपीएससी कैन आस्क। नाउ हियर a very important species in Manas is rhino or rhinoceros is important. So cold desert biosphere reserve is only Trans-Himalayan biosphere reserve which is part of world network of biosphere reserve. Nilgiri is the first one, multi-state, Gulf of Mannar, marine biosphere reserve, Kutch largest, Sundarban only mangrove biosphere reserve with tiger habitat, or these are some of the important points. Now World Network of Biosphere Reserve. So it is managed by MAB program of UNESCO. MAB means Man and Biosphere Reserve. So I already told you, okay. So it promotes synergy between the humans and nature. Means the human is not excluded from the nature. So how the biosphere reserves are designated? So a strategy is used called as Seville strategy for biosphere reserve. So remember this Seville strategy, very important. Now states can remove, means states matlab yahan pe countries can remove the biosphere reserve from the network, notifying to MAB. So UNESCO can also withdraw the designation. Okay, ऐसा कोई hard and fast rule नहीं है, because sometimes UPSC में देता है कि once a biosphere has been declared under World Network of Biosphere Reserves, it cannot be removed at any cost, ऐसे देता है। See, ऐसा कोई भी इंटरनेशनल लॉ सीधा स्टेट के सॉवरेनिटी को इफेक्ट करता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है। ओके, द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज सुप्रीम। नेक्स्ट, द ग्लोबल एमिशन इंटेंसिटी. See, this could have been also the global emission targets. So it can be simply the global emission, right? But it is emission intensity here. So emission intensity means say your GDP is increasing. So with respect to the GDP or with the, according to a ratio of the GDP, you can reduce the greenhouse gases. Okay. Say for example you have this aluminium. Say 1 ton of aluminium is producing 1 ton of CO2. Now you are producing 2 ton of aluminium. If for 2 ton you have been producing 1.5 ton of CO2. So in the absolute terms, the emissions have increased. CO2 has increased in absolute terms. But in intensity terms, it has decreased. Okay? That's why the India cleverly uses this word intensity. Very important. In absolute terms, it will not be reducing, but according to the production levels, it will be decreasing. So 4 industries here: aluminium, cement, pulp and paper, chlor-alkali. So it's the first mandatory rules to cut emissions in these 4 industries. Remember this, very important. Now each factory must lower its GEI. that is greenhouse gas emissions per ton of the product. This is very important. Okay. Now it measures pollution efficiency like CO2 released to make 1 ton of the cement, already explained you. Now who has issued this? Carbon Credit Trading Scheme. Now who will be enforcing it? CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board. Now why it becomes important? Because see, firstly the industries will be bringing in new technologies to reduce the amount of the emissions. And if an industry is reducing the emissions, the industries will be gaining carbon credits. And these carbon credits can be sold in the market, can be traded in the market. For example, okay, I am a cement industry, I have reduced 1 ton of carbon from my industry and I will be getting a certificate of this, and this certificate I can sell in the open market. And किसी और को अगर कोई और somebody is unable to comply to this, वो CO2 का percentage या tons कम नहीं कर पा रहा है, then उनको खरीदना पड़ेगा. So it is basically okay doing business with your amount of the carbon released. So that's why it will be playing a very important role in reducing the emissions. Now if you want to emit, you can pay for it. So this comes under the principle of polluter pays principle. Next, Central Pollution Control Board, it has found that Delhi NCR is the worst impacted by high ozone, followed by Mumbai metropolitan region. Okay. Now, what is this ozone? Okay, we'll see that. Now there are two types of ozone. One is called as good ozone. This is good ozone. Like you have good Taliban, bad Taliban. So this is also called as the stratospheric ozone. Stratospheric. So then you have this bad ozone, which is the tropospheric ozone, also called as the ground level ozone. Ground level ozone. Now, why this ground level ozone is dangerous, we'll see in a while. Now, in examination, they can give a statement saying that the UV radiation, all the UV radiations are harmful for the skin. Okay, they'll be giving the statement. No. In fact, UVB is beneficial. So UVB will be helping you in the production of vitamin D in the body, because this UVB will be able to penetrate inside your skin and generate vitamin D, which will be strengthening your bones by absorbing calcium in the body. Whereas UVC is very harmful. Okay? So it will be completely blocked by this ozone, which is in stratosphere. That's why we are calling it as good ozone. Whereas UVA, which is not that harmful, that's why it will be able to penetrate through and it will be falling on the earth. So they can also give one more statement saying that all the UV radiations are blocked by ozone layer except for those regions where there is ozone hole. So such kind of statements also they will give. That's why this diagram plays a very important role. Okay. A मतलब आप you can याद करो allow करता है, means आ जाता है. A means आ जाता है. C मतलब कट जाता है. Okay, you can remember this way. Next, now how this ground level ozone is produced. Now you see this fog over here. When the fog is mixed with the smoke, so this forms smog. So during winters, you have this smog or fog. A winter phenomena है fog. And fog के लिए आपको चाहिए low temperature. Because at low temperature, the condensation will happen. Means whatever moisture is there in atmosphere, it undergoes condensation. मतलब okay, गैसियस स्टेट से लिक्विड स्टेट में चला जाता है, सो दैट फॉर्म्स फॉग. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज लंडन स्मॉग. Remember, low temperature. But at high temperature, you also have this smog formed, and this is called as LA smog, Los Angeles smog. Now, how this is formed? See, for formation of the London smog, you require high temperature, sunlight चाहिए आपको यहाँ पे. Whereas in that, sunlight should not be there. So here you have this vehicular emissions. So vehicular emissions से आपको NOx मिलता है. Plus you have this VOCs. VOCs मतलब volatile organic compounds. Means ये C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. Means lower chain of carbons, or any organic compound which is highly volatile, which can evaporate very easily. Okay, so VOCs plus NOx in the presence of UV radiation or sunlight, means harsh sunlight चाहिए. So this kind of smog is formed in hot sunny afternoons. Hot sunny afternoons. So when these two will be reacting in the presence of sunlight, it will be producing PAN, which is a carcinogen, okay, peroxoacetyl nitrate plus O3. So this is that ground level ozone. Now if you look at this ozone, this is ozone. Means this single bond is highly fragile. Means in the presence of sunlight, it is broken very easily. This bond is easily broken, and you have this O dot, free radical. This free radical is highly reactive. A single है, very ready to mingle with anyone. So whenever you respire this ozone, जब ये ozone आपके अंदर लेते हो, a single radical है, and this radical is very ready to react. वो अंदर लंग्स में जाके किसी स्किन टिश्यू से किसी से भी जाके रिएक्ट करता है. सो हाईली रिएक्टिव, हाईली करोसिव. सो दिस इज दैट ग्राउंड लेवल ओजोन. एंड ग्राउंड लेवल ओजोन इज नॉट प्राइमरी पोल्यूटेंट, इट्स अ सेकेंडरी पोल्यूटेंट. So primary pollutants are released directly from the source, whereas secondary pollutant is formed when there is a reaction between two primary pollutants. Okay, remember this. So this is about ground level ozone. I have explained this. Okay, चाहिए तो आप यहाँ पे pause करके देख लेना एक बार. Of course, क्या effects cause करता है? It can cause bronchitis, asthma, irritation in the lungs. You know, जो भी आए वहाँ पे टिक कर देना. Cough, you know, कुछ भी cause कर सकता है, देख लेना. Next, this Nat Pole Rex. So it is a biennial flagship exercise to respond to marine oil spills. Means if the oil is spreading on the surface of the ocean, since it is light, it floats on the water and it spreads very easily. And एक बार जब oil surface के ऊपर चला गया, spread होता ही रहता है. It will be forming a thin film. And a thin film जो है ना, ऑक्सीजन डिसोल्यूशन कम कर देता है. मतलब ऑक्सीजन पानी में कम हो जाता है, एंड नीचे हाइपोक्सिक कंडीशंस विल बी क्रिएटेड, एंड ऑल्सो इट विल नॉट अलो मच ऑफ सनलाइट. सनलाइट नहीं होगा तो फोटोसिंथेसिस नहीं होगा, प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी नहीं होगी पानी में. सो यू वोंट बी हैविंग फाइटोप्लैंक्टन, जूप्लैंक्टन्स विच इज द मेजर फूड फॉर द फिश. सो पूरा इकोसिस्टम विल बी अफेक्टेड. एंड जो ये ग्रीज है, ओके, दैट विल गो एंड स्मीयर टू द मरीन एनिमल्स. ये चिपक जाता है, एंड मेरीन एनिमल्स स्पेशली बर्ड्स, ओके, वो फ्लाई नहीं कर पाते. इट कॉजेस अ लॉट ऑफ डिफिकल्टीज. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द एक्सरसाइजेस. नाम याद रखना, इट इज फॉर मरीन स्पिल्स. यूपीएससी में आपको मिसलीड करने के लिए क्या देगा? सो दे विल बी सेइंग दैट इट इज द जॉइंट मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइजेस बिटवीन इंडिया एंड मालदीव्स और इंडिया, समथिंग लाइक दैट, यू नो. तो ऐसे मिसलीड करेगा. remember. Next, Oxbow Lake. Now, what is this Oxbow Lake? You can see the river here. So, when the river is in the hills, it will be flowing straight because of the gravity. Once it enters the plains, it will start meandering. So, when it meanders, at the lower stages, it meanders even more. ऐसे meander करता है. Say the flow of the river is increased. So, यहाँ पर river का flow increase हो गया, and this becomes the cutting edge. यहाँ पे cut कर देता है. And ये पानी यहाँ से यहाँ आएगा, फिर यहाँ पे flow बढ़ेगा. जब यहाँ पे flow बढ़ेगा, यहाँ पे cut कर देता है. तो finally क्या होता है? Rivers will start flowing like this सीधा. सीधा ऐसे flow होने लगता है. And this part of the lake, this part of the river will be separated from the main river, and this will be forming a lake called as Oxbow Lake. Now, why I am telling you this, because recently Gokul Reservoir and Udaipur Lake, these are in Bihar. So they have been declared as Ramsar wetlands. See, Ramsar wetlands, okay, will be revised yearly twice. एक बार Feb में कहीं lakes add करते हैं, and somewhere in the month of June, July, again few more lakes will be added. Now, again आप exam जाने से पहले फिर एक बार देख लेना. Some more wetlands might be added to the Ramsar list. So as of now, India has 93 Ramsar wetlands. Now, what all questions can be asked here? So, generally, whenever they are asking the wetlands, Ramsar wetlands, they will ask the wetlands which are very important. Okay, and secondly, they will also ask the wetlands which have been recently included. So, आपको पूरे सारे के सारे 93 wetlands याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Recent additions याद रखो and most important ones याद रखो. Recent वाले मैंने आपको भी यहाँ पे बता दिया, and बाद में भी जब मार्च में फिर से मैं current affairs लूँगा, okay, like this I'll be releasing the videos every month, then also, okay, I'll be telling you some of the new additions. Now, again, coming to Ramsar wetlands, Tamil Nadu has highest number and Uttar Pradesh, okay, is the second. Now, Montrex record sites क्या है? Once this question has been asked in UPSC, okay, means Montrex site मतलब वो Ramsar site है, but the quality or the ecological quality is degrading, will degrade in the future or degraded. Means past tense में, present continuous में, future में. अगर लगता है, रामसर वालों को लगता है कि भैया यहाँ पे डिग्रेड होने वाला है या हो गया या हो रहा है, then it will be declared as, it will be put in the Montrex record. So कौन से है Montrex record में? One is Keladeo National Park, other is Loktat Lake. So Keladeo National Park is also called as this Bharatpur Wildlife Sanctuary. So ये दोनों याद रखना. पहले चिलिका लेक जो अपना ओडिशा में था, so that was also under Montrex records, but because of the various conservation efforts taken by the government and the local people over there, it has been removed from the Montrex records. So अभी तो ये दोनों है. Next, Keladeo National Park. This Keladeo National Park is in Rajasthan. So this is where your Keladeo or Bharatpur is, and this is where your Chambal river and tributaries. So this has been artificially created. Means Chambal से पानी जाता था भरतपुर तक, वहाँ पे पानी sprinkle करते थे, and artificial wetland has been created. So since it has been created, a lot of migratory birds used to come to here. Now earlier it was a sanctuary. तो जब भी कोई a protected area or reserved area sanctuary होती है, so local people can enjoy certain benefits. So लोग आते थे अपने गाय भैंस लेके, and जब पानी होती है तो घास भी होती है, घास खाने आते हैं. Then एक गाय भैंस घास खाने के बाद लोडिंग करने के बाद अनलोडिंग भी कर देते थे. Okay, and because of the dung, local community has been created. Lot of beetles used to come, lot of insects used to come. So because of which the ecosystem quality has been degraded. तो लेटर गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, अभी लोग अपना गाय भैंस लेके आ रहे हैं, पूरा वहाँ पे खराब कर रहे हैं, इकोसिस्टम पूरा डिग्रेड हो रहा है। तो सरकार ने बोल दिया भैया इसको सैंचुरी से, वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंचुरी से नेशनल पार्क्स का अपग्रेडेशन दो। सो नेशनल पार्क में नो गो होता है, मीन्स मेनी ऑफ द ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज आर नॉट अलाउड एक्सेप्ट फ्यू। ओके, सो लोगों का आना जाना बंद हो गया। उसके बाद क्या हुआ, अभी चंबल में भी पानी नहीं है, तो उसके बाद क्या किया, ओके दिस केलादियो में बोरवेल लगाया अंदर। सो अंडरग्राउंड वाटर निकाल के वाटर स्प्रिंकल करने लगे। फिर भी कितना होता है अंडरग्राउंड वाटर, कमी होता है। सो बिकॉज ऑफ विच द लोकल बायोडाइवर्सिटी हैज बीन डिग्रेडेड, सो दैट्स वाई इट हैज बीन पुट अंडर Montreux records. The second one is the Loktak Lake. Now this Loktak Lake is located in Manipur. I'll show you this. It's located in Manipur. Now Manipur has very unique geography. You can see here. So if I show you the topographical map, terrain map, it is completely surrounded by the hills. And in between you have the valley. You can see here. So hills hai, valley hai. So the blue part which you see here, so this is the Loktak Lake here. So this is the Loktak Lake. So this is also the reason why recently, okay, Manipur has been burning from the past 2 years. बिकॉज ये वैली में जो है हिंदू मेजॉरिटी पॉपुलेशन है, एंड जो आसपास के हिल्स में जो है ट्राइबल्स है, क्रिश्चियंस। सो ट्राइबल्स इन द हिल्स, इन द प्लेन्स यू हैव दिस मैथई पॉपुलेशन, एक मैथई एक एथनिक ग्रुप है। सो देयर इज अ फाइट बिटवीन दीज टू ग्रुप्स ओवर हियर। सो अर्लियर इट वाज a fight between plain people and hill people. Now it has attained a religious color. So it has become a fight between the Hindu majority and the Christian minority. So that is how the things have played up. I cannot discuss much over here. But you see this lake over here. So see if the deforestation is happening in the hills. आप झूम कल्टीवेशन वहाँ पे कर रहे हो, जंगल को काट रहे हो, पूरा मिट्टी आके लेक में गिर जाएगा। या आसपास के एरियाज में, इम्फाल के आसपास एरिया में आपकी पैडी फील्ड्स है, तो वहाँ पे आप अगर ज़्यादा फर्टिलाइजर यूज़ करते हो, अल्टीमेटली कहाँ जाएगा वो सब जाएगा केबुल लामजाओ नेशनल पार्क, दैट इज लोकतट लेक में जाएगा। सो वेन एवर द केमिकल्स इंक्रीज, स्पेशली द नाइट्रेट्स एंड फॉस्फेट्स, सो दे विल बी इंक्रीजिंग द व्हाट यूट्रॉफिकेशन। यूट्रॉफिकेशन मीन्स वहाँ पे ओके बहुत सारा एल्गे ग्रो करेगा, बहुत सारे प्लांट्स ग्रो करेंगे। दिस एल्गे प्लांट्स वन डे दे विल डाई। सो व्हेन दे डाई दे विल इंक्रीज द मर्क, मीन्स वो सिल्ट डिपॉजिट करेगा लेक में, सो लेक भरता रहेगा। सो फाइनली द लेक्स गेट फिल्ड और the lake is encroached upon from all the sides because of the silt and because of the eutrophication, and finally the lake will die. So that's why okay, this is important. These are the various reasons. Now this Kebul Lamjau National Park or the Loktat Lake, so what is unique about this is, so you see some floating structures over here. So these floating structures are called as phumdis. So earlier the Loktak Lake used to have a seasonal phenomena. Seasonal means in summers it used to become dry. So whenever it used to become dry, a phumdis जो है ना वो नीचे जाके टच करता है, जमीन को जाके टच करता है। वो ज़मीन को जाके जब टच करेगा वहाँ से मिट्टी उठाएगा, वहाँ से सिल्ट उठाएगा, मीन्स अ फाइन क्ले काइंड ऑफ ए थिंग विच इज़ वेरी न्यूट्रिएंट रिच। एंड व्हेन द मॉनसून्स अराइव इन द मंथ ऑफ जून जुलाई, देन द वाटर विल बी फिल्ड एंड द फुमडी जो है ऊपर आ जाएंगे। द फुमडी क्या किया समर में, लीन सीजन में नीचे जाके पूरा मिट्टी लेके आया, दैट इज एक्टिंग एज ए न्यूट्रिएंट्स, एंड उसके ऊपर ग्रास ग्रो करता है। सो वेन एवर दिस ग्रास डाइज, it will be adding a lot of material to this phumdi. जब ग्रास मरेगा a lot of biological matter add करेगा. So this is how the phumdi's thickness was maintained. मतलब वो ग्रास जब भी मरता है वो थिकनेस को ऐड करता है. लेकिन अभी लोगों ने क्या किया? विकास. So they have constructed a dam. So when you construct a dam, you'll be having water throughout the year. अभी ह्यूमन यूज के लिए तो वाटर है, ठीक मिल रहा है, लेकिन अब समर में भी यहाँ पे अगर पानी है, ये फुमड़ी अगर नीचे नहीं जाएगा, वो नीचे से मिट्टी को ऊपर लेके नहीं आएगा, उसके ऊपर ग्रास ग्रो नहीं करेगा ना, बिकॉज ग्रास ग्रो करने के लिए आपको न्यूट्रिएंट चाहिए. दैट्स व्हाई ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दिस फुमडीज थिकनेस हैज बीन रिड्यूसिंग. वो पतले होते जा रहे हैं, पतले हो के ओके ऐसे बीच में सर्किल सर्किल भी बना रहे हैं. सो दिस यूनिक इकोसिस्टम, ऐसा इकोसिस्टम वर्ल्ड में कहीं पे भी नहीं है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द डैम दिस इज गेटिंग डिटोरिएटेड. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज इन द लिस्ट वंस अगेन. मॉन्ट्रिक्स रिकॉर्ड्स में चल गया. एंड रिसेंटली वन स्टडी हैज बीन कंडक्टेड बाय नागालैंड यूनिवर्सिटी. So according to this university, 47% is because of agricultural runoff. Nitrates and phosphates, when they enter into the water, they encourage eutrophication. Next, because of झूम cultivation also. So आसपास के एरिया में जब आप जंगल काटोगे आसपास के पहाड़ों में, so वहाँ का जो मिट्टी है अंदर जाएगा and gradually it increases the biological matter inside. So this is one of the key studies. That's why it is important. Next, so these are some of the initiatives which have been taken by the government of India for the protection of the species. Now, Project Dolphin Phase 2. So this is for both riverine and marine cetaceans. Now, this is Irrawaddy dolphin. This species is Irrawaddy dolphin. Now, where all this Irrawaddy dolphin is found? Now, once upon a time, it used to be in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. Means Bay of Bengal का जो periphery है, हर जगह मिलता था. But again, its population has been reduced. So now it is restricted to Irrawaddy River, okay, which is in Myanmar, Mekong River, okay, mostly Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Chilika River. So India में Chilika River में मिलता है, sorry, Chilika Lake में मिलता है, and Sundarbans in Bangladesh. So what is the unique trait of this? So it will be having smiling face. आपको दिख रहा है यहाँ पे smiling face होता है, and it is also fresh water tolerant. Because it is living in the lagoons. रिवर के एंड में जो डेल्टा पाया जाता है ना, सो वहाँ पे ज़्यादातर मिलता है. द बेसिकली इट्स अ brackish water where the fresh water will be meeting with the sea. There it is found. Now what are the major threats here? So लोग जाते हैं फिश पकड़ने के लिए, लेकिन ये भी पकड़ा जाता है. ओके, समटाइम्स द पीपल डू इलेक्ट्रो फिशिंग ऑल्सो, मतलब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डाल के पूरा फिश को मारते हैं. नाउ व्हेन यू कंस्ट्रक्ट अ डैम, their restriction, okay, their movement will be restricted. So because of that also it is deteriorating. And also the pollution which is caused by the humans, such as mercury pollution, heavy metal pollution, habitat loss, etc. Again these threats will be common for everything. So जितने भी आपके riverine species है या lagoon वाले species है, ये सब common है, आप ये याद कर सकते हो and mains में भी लिख सकते हो. So next one is one more dolphin species. So this is also called as Susu. So this is Gangetic dolphin. Again the same story. Once upon a time it was very much abundant in Ganges, Brahmaputra. Everywhere it used to be there. But again it has been restricted to few areas of the Ganges and Brahmaputra में भी Assam में rare sightings होते हैं इसका. And in Nepal also you have it in Karnali river. Now again what are the major threats? The threats are same again, which I have discussed just now. You can go through them. The threats will be all same. Now where it is conserved, so one of the very important conservation sites of this Gangetic dolphin is Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary. So this Vikramshila is located in Bihar, Bhagalpur. And it's also called as the tiger of the Ganges because it is a top predator. And 50% of the deaths will be happening because of the accidents, nets. Okay, nets के अंदर फंस जाना, नहीं तो boats आके टकराना. And one of the unique traits of this is it is blind. Okay, so it is, since it is blind, जब भी इसको आगे बढ़ना है, एक sound करता है, typical sound करता है, su 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 like that. That's what is also called as su su. Next, Project Sloth Bear. So this is also one of the important initiatives taken by the government of India recently. That's why you have to remember this. Now, what is the protection status here? Vulnerable. So found in India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Schedule 1. Again, recently the schedules have changed. Earlier there were 6 schedules. Now it has been reduced to 4 schedules only. Animals के लिए 3 and plants के लिए 1. So that's very important. Now these are termite, means anteaters. So unlike other bear species, they carry their cubs on their back. Next, Project Gharial. Now India में crocodilian species 3 types है. एक हो गया riverine. So riverine is this घड़ियाल. दूसरी हो गई salt water. The salt water is majorly found in Odisha coast, Andaman Nicobar, etc. And third हो गया मगरमच्छ जो बोलते हैं ना, that one. 3 species है. So this मगरमच्छ is found all over India. कहीं पे भी लेक से, रिवर से, हर जगह मिलता है. And जो घड़ियाल जो है, it is found only in some specific locations. Again, same story. Once it is found in Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, everywhere. Now their population has been reduced drastically. Now 80 to 85% means most of the population is found in Chambal Sanctuary. The Chambal Sanctuary is at the junction of 3 states. Means UP, MP, Rajasthan को junction है. So वहाँ पे a sanctuary है. So वहाँ पे most of the population है. So other small population groups are present here also. You can go through this, but you can remember only this. Rest you can ignore. Okay. Again, what is the threat for this? Same. Now, why it is called as घड़ियाल? आप यहाँ पे देखो. Snout होता है सामने. So घड़ा जैसा दिखता है. घड़ा means for South Indians pot. It looks like a pot. In Hindi, घड़ा means pot. Pout, you can say. Kind of structure hai. So that's why it is called as घड़ियाल. Right? Again, it is a fish eater. You can see the snout over here. Long hai. Whereas for other crocodile species, itna slender or long a snout nahi hota hai. Next, so you have been protecting the tigers inside the tiger reserves. But again, this is a program for the tigers outside the tiger reserve. So there is one more program for this. Again, UPSC can give a statement saying that the tigers inside the tiger reserve are only protected, outside tigers are not protected. Something of this sort will be given. Ignore that. This Global Forest Resource Assessment 2025. So every 5 years, a survey is conducted all over the world and a forest report comes. And in India, every 2 years, a forest survey will be taking place and it's called as Indian State of the Forest Report. So India specific hai, and this is world. And who conducts it? FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. It conducts this. Now according to this, you can ignore this 4.41 billion hectares, you can ignore this, no problem. But important thing is 32% of land area is under the forest and this is the deforestation rate. You can mains में important है, pre के लिए उतना important नहीं है. Around 10 million hectare is the deforestation every year. You can remember this. Now why this 32% is important? Because India का around 21 point something means If you are adding the roadside forest etc. trees and all, it becomes 24, खींच खाच के 24 बन जाता है, but 21 मीन्स इंडिया में जो फॉरेस्ट है वर्ल्ड एवरेज से भी कम है. ये चीज ध्यान रखना है आपको. ओके, अगेन फॉरेस्ट गेन. So there has been forest gain. So generally what the statement will be given, saying that the forests are being degraded, there has been deforestation etc. And where this gain is happening, Asia में, Europe में हो रहा है. Again, nobody will expect Asia here. Okay, Europe also. Generally you think that developed country मतलब कम forest है. ऐसा नहीं होता है. I'll prove with the help of numbers. Now, where these top domains are, again remember this, tropical forest are 45%. So, tropical forest does not just mean the equatorial forest. It also includes monsoonal forest. It also includes the deciduous forests, dry deciduous, wet deciduous, ये पूरा मिला के tropical. Next, boreal. Boreal मतलब a taiga type of vegetation है. Okay? And in terms of area, Europe has around 25% of world forest area. एरिया में उतना नहीं है यूरोप छोटा कॉन्टिनेंट है, फिर भी वर्ल्ड का 25% ऑफ फॉरेस्ट इज लोकेटेड इन यूरोप. नेक्स्ट, कार्बन स्टॉक्स. ओके, यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर, बट व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर इज मोस्टली इन द सॉइल. दिस यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. मीन्स सी, एक ग्राउंड है, एक पेड़ है नीचे. नाउ व्हाट पीपल विल थिंक यूजुअली इज कार्बन कहां पे ज्यादा है. इफ ए क्वेश्चन इज बीइंग आस्क्ड, जनरली यू थिंक दैट ग्राउंड के एबो लेवल में कार्बन ज्यादा होता है. यू थिंक दिस वे, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द कार्बन इज लोकेटेड बिलो द ग्राउंड. बिकॉज जब भी ये पेड़ मरेगा, उसका जो कार्बन है, it will be deposited in the soil. Therefore, in the soil, the carbon percentage is high, and most of the carbon is present inside the soil, not above the soil. Because people think that पेड़ों में मतलब a living life में ज़्यादा carbon होता है. It's not the case. And what are the challenges? You can go through the challenges here. Now, if you look at country-wise, the percentage of national forested area. Now, इंडिया का जो है, आई एम एडिंग हियर, इंडिया का अराउंड 21% है. सो रशिया हैज ऑलमोस्ट 50% ऑफ द टोटल एरिया अंडर द फॉरेस्ट, एंड वर्ल्ड का 20% है. नेक्स्ट, ब्राजील 12.2, कनाडा 8.9, यूएसए 7.6, चाइना. See, you might be thinking that USA, highly industrialized country, has less forest, but no. See, 33%, much higher than India. And nowadays, China is taking a lot of efforts, okay, in improving the forests. So China's percentage will increase. So next, as a percentage of total geographical area of the country, which country has highest? So French Guyana, 96% of total area of the country is under forest. Next is Suriname, 94%, and Guyana, 93%. ये तीनों countries ना पास है. I will show you where these countries are. So all these countries are here only. Last time I shown you Venezuela. Okay, so you have this French Guyana, Suriname, and Guyana, but the names are not visible. Okay. Anyways, you have seen the names, right? So Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, एक ही रीजन में, आपको ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. सो यू कैन सी द परसेंटेजेस वंस अगेन, 96, 94, 93. So India का around 21, 22, 23, 24, depends on what you're taking into account. So India का 9th है globally in terms of total forest. Okay, and rest of the two informations you can ignore. That this is important from here. Next, IUCN World Conservation Congress 2025 concluded in Abu Dhabi. Okay, this is in the news once again. Now, again they can ask, what is the Abu Dhabi call for? Abu Dhabi call for action. Again, it prioritizes nature for well-being, multilateralism, inclusion. ये ध्यान रखना. What is this? So what are the various notions passed here? You can ignore over here. Again, these are like Gospels of Bible. कुछ भी आए mark कर देना वहाँ पे. Okay? Because these kind of things you cannot deny at all. And कितनी चीजें याद रखोगे आप? Next, the things which have to be remembered only this from this slide. And one more important thing has happened here, that is update to IUCN Red List. Now this IUCN International Union for Conservation of Nature, so it will be giving priority to the conservation of the species. So therefore, it will be putting the species in various lists. Means अगर कोई species extinct हो गया, मतलब खत्म ही हो गया इसके ऊपर से, it is called as extinct. It is extinct in the wild, but zoo में है. That is called as extinct in wild. Means protected areas में. Next, critically endangered. Critically endangered. So critically endangered means only 50 individuals are present or 90% of the species पूरा खत्म हो गया. That is critically endangered. So next category is endangered. So endangered में you will be having 70%, means 70% पूरा खत्म हो गया और 250 individuals है. Next category is vulnerable. Okay, so this is how, depending upon the animal density कितने numbers है उसके हिसाब से this list is decided. Now let's see here. Some of the updates have taken place in the IUCN Red List. Now, over half of the bird species declining because of habitat loss. Now, birds के लिए habitat is very important. The birds, neither they will be staying in the forest, nor they will be staying in barren lands. So, birds के लिए grassland is very important. And grassland is completely ignored. मीन्स जंगल नहीं है, अगर वहाँ पे घास है आपको लगेगा कि जंगल तो नहीं है, इसका इकोलॉजिकल वैल्यू नहीं है, चलो जंगल काट दो यहाँ पे, नहीं तो वहाँ पे कोयला खोदो, नहीं तो वहाँ पे सिटी एक्सपैंड करो, नहीं तो वहाँ पे कोई इंडस्ट्री कंस्ट्रक्ट करो. सो आपको ऐसा लगता है. दैट्स व्हाई द ग्रासलैंड इज हाईली इग्नोर्ड इकोसिस्टम, सेम लाइक द डेजर्ट ऑल्सो. सो ईच एंड एवरी इकोसिस्टम हैज गॉट सर्टेन इकोलॉजिकल वैल्यू. So that's why it is highly degraded. Now Arctic seals, okay, uplisted closer to extinction from sea ice loss. Again, okay, India point of view, this is not that important, ignore this. Again, green sea turtle has been downgraded. So endangered से least concern बन गया. Again, India point of view, not that important, but again you can remember this because India के आसपास भी you have this green sea turtles. Now what you have to remember is this. So these are some of the species in India. Now, Indian cursor, from least concern it has become near threatened. Indian roller, again LC to NT. Next, roughest tail lark, LC to NT. Next, long-billed grasshopper warbler, from vulnerable it has become endangered. Okay, so this have been downlisted, this has been uplisted. ये up हो गया, ये तीनों down हो गया. Now wherever you have the birds, you can look at the habitat of the birds. Habitat of the birds is semi-arid plains, open woodlands, grasslands, wetlands, grasslands. So basically you can keep it as grasslands. Grasslands. Okay? एक कॉमन पॉइंट मिल गया बिकॉज आप ये सब चीज़ें याद नहीं रख सकते हो एटलीस्ट ये याद रखो अगेन व्हाट आर द मेजर थ्रेट अगेन यू कैन इग्नोर दैट इकोलॉजिकल रोल यू कैन इग्नोर दैट जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस स्पीशीज एंड यू कैन लुक एट द स्पीशीज हियर so this is Indian cursor remember the IUCN status because it has been changed Indian roller okay Telangana people must be knowing this okay so especially during the Dasara time it is considered auspicious if you look at this bird. So generally when you are in a village, the people go into the nearby jungle to sight this bird. Okay, जाके जंगल में जाके देख के आते हैं, अच्छा माना जाता है. And Ruffers tail lark, again it is anti. Now long-billed grasshopper warbler. Okay, this is endangered. So next, tigers. So this is the largest wild cat in the world. Also, these are the various range countries. Now, what is the IUCN status of this? Endangered. Sometimes they will be giving critically endangered. No. Critically endangered होने के लिए 50 species होना चाहिए, नहीं तो 90% species should have gone extinct. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Okay. Next, 75% of the world wild tigers are located in India. Now, what is the habitat here? You can go through this. Next, what is this? IUCN green status of the species. Now, IUCN red list तो देखा है आपने? एक green status क्या है? So, this is the difference between the green status and the red list. So, red list में, okay, it has 9 threat categories. So, it will be looking at the extinction level. मतलब 50 species है क्या? Okay, 250 species है क्या? 50,000 स्पीशीज है क्या नंबर देखते हो मतलब कितना बचा है सो इसमें क्या देखते हो रिकवरी प्रोग्रेस देखते हो मीन्स अगर आपने किसी स्पीशीज को एंडेंजर्ड बोला है या क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड बोला है बोलने के बाद अगर वो कंट्री या स्टेट कुछ एफर्ट्स लेती है एंड एफर्ट्स लेने के बाद कितना रिकवरी हुआ है उसमें वो बताता है ग्रीन स्टेटस सो वन इज अबाउट threat levels, so other is about its increase levels. So this is the major difference between the green status and red list. Now for the tigers, the green status has been released. So tigers critically depleted बताया गया. Okay, in this list. That means 0 to 10% recovered. Okay. So the recovery is very less as what is it is expected. So that's why it is categorized as critically depleted. So next is elephants. Now elephants is the largest land mammal in Asia. So among the mammals it will be having very long gestation period of 22 months. मतलब बच्चे को पेट में कितना महीने के लिए for humans it is 9 months, it is 22 months. Now where it will be living? Grasslands. And these are also called as ecosystem engineers because see जब भी हाथी forest में जाता है so when they walk so it will be killing the small shrubs and herbs. So weed को ख़त्म कर देता है. Then बड़े पेड़ जो है बहुत ज़्यादा उगते हैं and whenever the elephant is stepping in the forest वो पैर रखने के बाद वहाँ पे एक पॉट होल स्मॉल पॉट होल काइंड ऑफ थिंग अपने इंडियन के रोड्स में दिखते हैं ना वो ऐसा भर जाता है सो whenever बारिश comes that will be filled with water and it will be acting as watering hole मतलब जंगल में जो प्राणी है वो आके वहाँ पे पानी पीते हैं and these elephants they'll be moving very long distances they're migratory in nature so they'll be consuming food यहाँ पे food यहाँ पे consume कर लिया and 100 किलोमीटर पार जाके उसको excrete कर देता है so उसमें जो seeds होते हैं ना वो disperse हो जाते हैं So because of which it will be increasing the biodiversity, etc. So that's why they are also called as ecosystem engineers. And IUCN status is endangered. Obviously schedule 1 में है and cites appendix 1. Now SAI, there is a program called as SAI, that is Synchronous All India Population Estimation of Elephants. So this is when I don't know, laugh or something. So Indian Administrative Service is also called as Indian Acronym Service. Matlab these people have become very expert in drafting the acronyms. So पहले तो क्या वर्ड रखना है वो सोचते हैं, मतलब इट शुड बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट संस्कृत वर्ड या भगवान का नाम साई. देन बेस्ड ऑन दैट दे विल बी प्रिपेयरिंग व्हाट शुड बी, वहां पे कुछ भी जोड़ दो, कोई सेंस बनता है यहाँ पे. सिंक्रोनस जितने भी गवर्नमेंट के प्रोग्राम्स देखो जहाँ पे भी एक्रोनिम है, आपको वियर्ड सा उसका ये मिलेगा. ओके, एनीवेज, so it is the India's first DNA based count of elephants conducted by the Wildlife Institute of India under Project Elephants. So DNA based is very important here, count of elephants. अब wild elephants, अब ये wild elephants कहाँ कहाँ है? तो Himalayan foothills में, North Eastern states, Eastern Central India, Western Ghats, and some elephants are also found in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, so whenever such kind of count is done, a question can be asked, so कहाँ पे ये ज़्यादा पाए जाते हैं? So Western Ghats will be hosting the largest population of wild elephants, followed by northeastern hills. Remember this. The first is the Western Ghats, second is the northeastern hills. So this is the state-wise distribution. So state-wise distribution, the first is Karnataka. Remember Karnataka first. Okay. Next, what are the various reasons by which the elephant population is decreasing? So first is habitat shrinkage and fragmentation. So he'll tell you what is this, what is unique about this habitat fragmentation. For example, you have this forest area. Now through the forest area, for example, you have constructed a highway. So this is a roadway. So this is a railway. Now this habitat has been fragmented into 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if an elephant wants to cross this, a truck के नीचे आएगा, rail के नीचे आएगा, or else it will avoid. वो मरेगा नहीं, but within this habitat, they have to live. So that will create a lot of stress, and also it will encourage lot of inbreeding. Means अपने family में वो क्रॉस ब्रीडिंग, ओके, इन ब्रीडिंग करना पड़ता है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ विच द जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी विल डिक्रीज, डिसीजेस ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं, एंड देन दे बिकम वल्नरेबल एंड दे डाई. ओके, सो whenever a species population is decreasing, the most important reason will be habitat fragmentation, not just habitat shrinkage. तो यहाँ पे टेक्निकली फॉरेस्ट एरिया तो कम नहीं हुआ ना, आपने थोड़ा सा जगह ले लिया, आपको लगेगा कि जंगल तो नहीं काटा है, थोड़ा बहुत पेड़ काटे, बस रोड बिछा दिया, विकास हो रहा है, लेकिन इसका इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट बहुत सारा होता है. दैट्स व्हाई हैबिटेट फ्रैगमेंटेशन शुड नॉट बी इग्नोर्ड. वो दिखता नहीं है लेकिन उसका इफेक्ट बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. Now once this elephant population is in Western Ghats, all over the country it used to be there, okay? But again, because of coffee tea plantations, invasive species, okay, farmland fencing, etc., their population has been reducing. And also human elephant conflict has been increasing. See, आपने भैया जाके इंक्रोच किया फॉरेस्ट में, आपने वहाँ पे से कॉफ़ी प्लांटेशंस और टी प्लांटेशंस लगाया, एंड आप बोल रहे कि ओके एनिमल्स आ रहे हैं. भाई वो एनिमल्स का एरिया था, आप जाके एनिमल्स के एरिया में इंक्रोच किया. So this is how the human animal conflict has been increasing, and this is the major culprit here. Linear infrastructure बोलते हैं इसको. There's roads, railways, power lines, etc. So take a note of these 4 species over here, because recently Tamil Nadu government has given 1 crore rupees for the conservation of these species. So the first species over here is lion-tailed macaque, It is endemic to Western Ghats. The second one is the Madras Hagehog. Next you have striped hyena and humped-headed mashir. So this humped-headed mashir is very prominent in Kaveri river and some of the other tributaries. So next, the IUCN has recognized the Indian wolf as a separate species. So that's why it is important. So where all it is located? It is located in the thorn forests, scrublands, woodlands, etc. And what are the threats? Again, the threats are common. As we have discussed for the other species, the threats are common here also. Next, camel, the ship of the desert. Now, 90% of the camel are in Rajasthan and Gujarat. And what are the important features of this? They can survive without water for a very long time. They can travel long distances. And very important thing here, the hump of the camel. The hump of the camel is not for storing the water. The hump of the camel is for storing the fat. In fact, in the Middle Eastern countries, okay, whenever an important guest is coming for dinner or lunch, the hump is served. It is very rich in fat. Okay. Now, some of the important communities, okay, which rear the camel, Raika community, remember. Okay. So regarding this community, we'll discuss in other months' current affairs as well. Okay, but remember this name. Rest of the names also you can note down. Now, why we are discussing the camel? Because a draft policy paper has been prepared by this Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry in consultation is FAO, that is Food and Agricultural Organization. So it has suggested to launch National Camel Sustainability Initiative. So this program has been suggested. Now, what is the importance of this program? Why this program has to be suggested? Because the population of the camels have been reducing. So the population has declined more than 75%. And why there is a decline? Because traditionally they used to have a lot of economic utility. They were used in agriculture, they were used in transportation, they were used in tourism. Its milk and its products were highly valued. But again, because of the modern technology, so all these have taken a backseat. And along with that, the grazing lands are reducing. There is environmental stress, desertification is increasing. मतलब desert बढ़ रहा है, वहाँ पे plants available नहीं है जो camel खाता है, and water bodies available नहीं है जो camel को पानी पीता है. So all these things are not there. Rest of the things you can go through. Next, okay, two species of the camel become very important here. So this is what camel is for everyone. This camel which is there in Rajasthan desert. But also among many species of camel, two other species of camel are also important. One is the Kharai camel, which has been already asked in UPSC. So this camel swims in the water. Okay, it lives in run-off Kutch. So during the monsoon season, it can swim and go long distances. It can tolerate salt water. Very important here. So next, and this is also world's only swimming camel. So this has been already asked in UPSC. This also has been asked in UPSC, the double humped camel. So this double humped camel is in Nubra Valley. Nubra Valley. So that is in the cold desert. Okay. When you cross the Ladakh and move towards the LAC part, line of actual control, Aksai Chinwala part. So in that part, there is a valley called as Nubra Valley. So there you will get this double humped camel. Both have been asked in the examination. Next, dugong sea cow, already we have discussed that dugong is there in Gulf of Mannar. Gulf of Mannar is also a biosphere reserve. So this will be surviving on the seagrass, and seagrass is very important for the primary bioproductivity. It will be also acting as carbon sequestration. Matlab it will be storing water storing CO2 for a very long time. Now, what is the news here? So IUCN, okay, has recognized India's first dugong conservation reserve in Park Bay at IUCN World Conservation Congress. So this is the news. So during conservation reserve was established in 2022 by Tamil Nadu government. So area is not that important. okay, region, remember. Then seagrass meadows, so these are important. And seagrass also supports a lot of other marine species. So basically, okay, this is acting as a flagship species. Means if you are protecting dugong, you will be protecting other species also automatically. Now, World Meteorological Organization Congress calls for accelerated implementation of early warning system. Remember this acronym. See, wherever you are, in whichever part of the world you are, so it should be your right to get the communication about any kind of disaster. से earthquake आ रहे हैं, आपको मैसेज आना चाहिए. से तूफान आ रहा है, या what you call it, cyclone आ रहा है, you should be having early warning. So any kind of disaster, okay, which strikes you, you should be having an early warning. And this should be in a language which you should understand, okay, it should be comprehensible to you. आपको अगर language नहीं आ रही है, then sign language में समझाना चाहिए, okay. So it is emphasizing on the early warning for all. Now, what is the core aim here? Okay, that is I told you. Okay, and which all organs or bodies are involved here? WMO, UNDRR, ITU, International Telecommunication Union, because of आपको message पहुँचाना है वहाँ पे, and IFRC, Red Cross. ये बहुत सारा संघ सेवा करता रहता है, so that's why it's involved. Now, it started with 30 high risk nations. Okay, now it is expanding to 100 countries. Now 2027 तक global target इनका aim है. Next, what is CAMI? They can ask this. This is Central Asian Mammal Initiative. Now, okay, you have this Central Asia. In Central Asia, you will be having these various mammals which you can see here. So they will not be just located in one country. They will be moving from one country to another. इनको कोई passport की visa की ज़रूरत नहीं है. So ये घूमते रहते हैं. For example, one animal is protected in one country. Say it is not protected in other country. जब वो वहाँ पे जाएगा, वो मारा जाएगा. So that's why all the countries have to come together for the protection of such kind of species. So next, the next one is the Arabian Sea mini worm pool. Now before this, I'll explain you what is this El Nino phenomena. So this is the ocean which you can see. See, whenever the trade winds blow, these are the trade winds which you can see. So on the surface of the ocean, you'll be having warm water. Only the top 50 meters or 100 meters, at max 200 meters. Okay, you'll be having this warm waters. And below that, you'll be having extremely cold waters, which is almost maintained at 4 degrees centigrade. So imagine it as, say दूध है, दूध के ऊपर मलाई है. अगर आप फूक रहे हो तो मलाई पूरा एक तरफ चला जाता है. वैसे ही जब भी ये ट्रेड विंड्स ब्लो करते हैं, ऊपर का जो गर्म पानी है, वार्म वाटर है, it will go on one side. It will be piled up here. So wherever this warm water is piled up, it will induce evaporation. जब ये पानी evaporate होगा, cloud formation and rainfall. So usually the Australia will be having rainfall. And wherever, see, यहाँ पे गर्म पानी चला गया, for example, this is the ocean. So these are the trade winds. So the warm water is all piled up. And this will be pushing the water below. So this phenomena is also called as downwelling. So when it will be pushing the water below, from the other side, you will have upwelling. So here you will be having cool water. So नीचे का पानी ऊपर आ रहा है, तो यहाँ पे cool water आ जाएगा. So blue color denotes cool water. Now here you will be having cool water. So when you have cool water, it will be compressing the air. आपने स्कूल में भी पढ़ा होगा, जब भी गर्म होता है चीज़ें एक्सपैंड करती है, जब भी ठंडा होता है चीज़ें कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करती है. That's why here you'll be having sinking limb, right? Now when you have sinking limb, आपके यहाँ बारिश नहीं होगी. So you'll be having dry conditions and drought conditions. So this is also the reason why eastern side of the continents you will be having rainfall, floods. Whereas the western side of the continents, you will be having droughts or deserts. इसलिए यहाँ पे डेजर्ट है, पेरू डेजर्ट है, चिली डेजर्ट है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के ईस्ट वेस्टर्न पार्ट में इधर भी डेजर्ट है. So it is same for all the oceans. Okay, so this is how this El Nino and La Nina will function. Now we'll be having sinking limb, we'll be having dry conditions over here. So in the tropical belt, matlab 0 to 30 degrees. So generally on the eastern side of the oceans, you'll be having cool water, dry conditions. On the western side of the ocean, you'll be having warm water and rising winds. So El Nino के condition में क्या होगा? Reverse होता है थोड़ा. Okay, so during El Nino, so instead of warm water getting piled up here, it is getting piled up on the other side. Because of which, the regions which are supposed to receive, which are supposed to remain dry, those regions will not be getting, those regions will be getting heavy rainfall and it will result in the floods. And the regions which are supposed to get rainfall will not be getting rainfall and they remain dry and will be having drought conditions. Therefore, during El Nino conditions, here you will have floods and here you will be having drought. Now, apply the same principle for Indian Ocean here. So, even in the Indian Ocean, okay, that is the eastern side of the ocean, this is the western side of the ocean. So, assume this is El Nino condition. So, during El Nino condition, instead of warm waters, you will be having less warm waters. Matlab comparatively say you have cool waters here. And these are southwest monsoonal winds. Now, if this Indian Ocean had warm waters, there would have been more evaporation and more moisture would have come towards India. And India में बारिश ज़्यादा होती. लेकिन ये El Nino है. जब El Nino होगा, गर्म पानी नहीं होगा, यहाँ पे comparatively ठंडा पानी होता है. And this ठंडा पानी will not allow evaporation. Therefore, the winds which are coming towards India will be carrying less moisture, therefore less rainfall. But again, we have some local phenomena called as Arabian Sea mini warm pool. So यहाँ से moisture नहीं आ रहा है, but because of the formation of the warm pool here, some amount of moisture, okay, will be present, and that will help in India getting more rainfall, comparatively more rainfall. So during El Nino years, if luckily you have Arabian Sea mini pool formation, then India will be getting comparatively more rainfall than El Nino. Understood? एक सिंपल सेंटेंस में अगर बताऊं, अगर केरला के कोस्ट के पास गर्म पानी होगा, एक मिनी पूल फॉर्म होगा, गर्म वाला मिनी वार्म पूल, देन एल नीनो के ईयर में भी इंडिया में ज़्यादा पानी, ज़्यादा बारिश होने की संभावना ज़्यादा होगी. ओके, इन वेरी सिंपल टर्म्स. सो ओके, ये सब कंटेंट देके आप कंफ्यूज मत होना. ओके, सिंपली जो मैं बोला है उसको आप लिख लो, वैसे ही आप पढ़ लो. ओके, so next let's talk about the research stations of India. Now India has announced Maitri 2 new research station has been announced. तो क्या क्या क्वेश्चन पूछेगा? इसके पहले कौन से रिसर्च स्टेशन थे, इसके पहले जितने भी रिसर्च स्टेशंस थे वो सब काम कर रहे हैं क्या, किसी को डीकमीशन किया क्या, एंड आर्किटिक में कौन सा रिसर्च स्टेशन है, एंड ये कौन सा रिसर्च करता है. ओके, सो मैंने आपको ये लिस्ट दे दिया यहाँ पे. ओके, एंड ऑल्सो ओके, लिस्ट पहले देख लेते हैं. नाउ आर्किटिक में यू हैव अ रिसर्च स्टेशन कॉल्ड एज हिमाद्री. सो ये सारा इंफॉर्मेशन पे ध्यान मत देना, जो भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ ओके, आप इंफॉर्मेशन वैसे ही याद रखो, क्योंकि एग्जाम में क्या पूछेगा मैं उस हिसाब से आपको पढ़ाऊंगा. सो मतलब ये वाले कोर्स का मेन मकसद तो वही है. नेक्स्ट, देयर वाज दक्षिण गंगोत्री बट इट हैज बीन डीकमीशन नाउ. अभी ये काम नहीं कर रहा है. मैप में इसका लोकेशन भी दिखा दूंगा मैं आपको. नेक्स्ट मैत्री है. मैत्री हैज बिकम क्वाइट ओल्ड. ये पुराना हो चुका है, इसलिए नया मैत्री आ रहा है. न्यू मैत्री 2 इज कमिंग. व्हेन इट विल कम? बाय 2029 it will come. So one which is functioning now is Bharti. Basically, right now in Antarctica, there are two research stations, Maitri, Bharati. Okay, you can remember as MB, Mahesh Babu, something like that. Now, what all research it does? Basically, they will be doing all the types of research. यहाँ पे देखो आप atmospheric research, glaciology, radiation, space weather. So कोई भी ऑप्शन आए एग्जाम में वो टिक कर देना, ये सब रिमेंबर करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल ओके, कल कोई ओके ऐसे ग्लेशियोलॉजी में सब पार्ट होगा, उस पर वो रिसर्च कर रहे होंगे, क्या उसको आप मना करोगे? नहीं करोगे ना. सो उतना याद रखने में एनर्जी वेस्ट मत करना, सारे याद रखना. बट वन थिंग विच हैव टू रिमेंबर इन Maitri 2 इज the Maitri 2 will be completely powered by renewable energy, that is solar and in wind. Now, where all these things are located? Okay, so this is the Antarctica. So this is where the Dakshin Gangotri, which has been decommissioned. This is Maitri. So Maitri 1 के पास ही Maitri 2 आ रहा है, and this is where Bharati is. So अगर आप यहाँ पे लोकेशन देखोगे, Bharati is located somewhere here. So this is where Bharati is. So Maitri यहीं कहीं located है, means almost Africa के नीचे. And this is where your Dakshin Gangotri was. So the location of the Bharati, ये जो location है, it is also said to be the location from where India has come out. पहले इंडिया, अंटार्कटिका, ओके, साउथ अमेरिका, अफ्रीका, मडागास्कर, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, दे वर ऑल पार्ट ऑफ सिंगल लैंड मास, राइट. सो इंडिया पहले यहाँ पे हुआ करता था. सो इसलिए थोड़ा बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. और कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट में भी रिसर्च करता रहता है. नाउ सम ऑफ द सीज यू हैव टू रिमेंबर हियर विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू अंटार्कटिका. सो यहाँ पे दो ही सीज है, एक है वेडल सी, एक है रॉस सी. सो वेडल और रॉस में बहुत सारा आइस शेल्फ है, दिख रहे हो आप. तो वेडल सी में ओके याद रखना रॉन आइस शेल्फ है, एंड ओके योर रॉस आइस शेल्फ इन रॉस सी. सो दीज टू सीज यू हैव टू रिमेंबर विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू अंटार्कटिका. एंड दिस आइस शेल्फ्स आर ब्रेकिंग, calving, मेल्टिंग. अगर आइस शेल्फ मेल्ट हो जाएगा तो देयर विल बी ग्लोबल सी लेवल राइज. दैट्स व्हाई आल्सो इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट. Again, some of the facts about Antarctica: it is the 5th largest continent, very important for climate, and it has 75% of Earth's fresh water, and also it has lot of iron and copper deposits. Means it's also very mineral rich. Obviously continent है, okay, उसके ऊपर 3 किलोमीटर thick ice layer है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि नीचे मिनरल्स नहीं होंगे. मीन्स कभी किसी ज़माने में वहाँ पे भी जंगल हुआ करते थे. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट इट वेंट टू द साउथ पोल. सो वंस अपॉन अ टाइम इट मस्ट हैव बीन लोकेटेड नियर द इक्वेटर ऑल्सो. सो देयर मस्ट हैव बीन कोल ऑल्सो. सो सारे मिनरल्स वहाँ पे हो सकते हैं. तो मिनरल्स होगा, ऑब्वियसली इट विल हैव जियो पोलिटिकल सिग्निफिकेंस. कंट्रीज विल बी फाइटिंग फॉर इट. जब मौका मिल जाए तब जाके वहाँ पे मिनरल्स हड़प ले. नो, ये वाली मेंटालिटी सारे ही कंट्रीज को होंगी. बट एज ऑफ नाउ देयर इज अ रूल दैट द अंटार्कटिका कैनॉट बी एनी कंट्रीज टेरिटरी. द कंट्रीज कैन यूज अंटार्कटिका ओनली फॉर रिसर्च पर्पसेस. यहाँ पे मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग भी नहीं हो सकती है. ओके, दिस इज द रूल एज ऑफ नाउ. फ्यूचर में पता नहीं क्या होगा. नेक्स्ट, रिमेंबर दिस, देयर इज अ आइलैंड कॉल्ड एज भारतंग आइलैंड. So there, Bhartang Island. So in this Bhartang Island, okay, which is in Andaman and Nicobar, there is a mud volcano. So under which all conditions you will be having mud volcano? Firstly, it should be sedimentary basin. So ये वाला एक sedimentary basin है. मतलब basically यहाँ पे one plate is undergoing subduction below the other. ये एक प्लेट है, एक दूसरा प्लेट है. सो सेडिमेंट्स यहाँ से भी आएंगे, सेडिमेंट्स यहाँ से भी आएंगे. सर ये बन जाएगा सेडिमेंट्री बेसिन. एंड वेन एवर यू हैव दिस सेडिमेंट्स कमिंग अप, इन दैट यू विल बी हैविंग बायोलॉजिकल मैटर ऑल्सो. मिट्टी भी होगा. जब भी बायोलॉजिकल मैटर मिट्टी के नीचे दबेगा, सो देयर विल बी हीट and there will be pressure. So because of which all the volatiles will evaporate and it will be converted into hydrocarbons. So यहाँ पे जितना भी sediments में biological matter था वो that has been converted into methane. And mud volcano is such a volcano which has methane at very high pressure. So that methane is erupting out. Of course, other gases will also be there, but methane, CH4, is predominant over here. Once in UPSC, they have asked which all gases are released in volcano. आपको again याद रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. क्यों? आपने क्या जितने भी volcanoes है वर्ल्ड में सारे volcanoes में जाके रिसर्च किया है क्या? कौन सा गैस आ रहा है? सेकंड, फॉर एग्जाम्पल फ्यूचर में ये वाला गैस नहीं आएगा बोल के आप गारंटी लिखे दोगे क्या? नहीं. So that's why whichever gas they give market. But predominantly mud volcano, okay, will be having a lot of methane gas. And a mud volcano does not have lava, means molten rock nahi hoga. So basically, okay, it is high pressure along with the methane gas and a lot of water. And मिट्टी होगा, पानी होगा तो वो मड में कन्वर्ट होगा. And where it is found? Natural gas rich sedimentary basins. What is this natural gas? Methane, CH4. So that's it. These things you have to remember. I'm providing you all this, diagrams and all because सब डायग्राम देखोगे तो आपको याद होगा. आप पूछ सकते हो सर यहाँ पे ये फायर क्यों आ रहा है? तो मीथेन को अगर जलाओगे तो फायर आएगा ना. So it is not lava. So next, so now we'll be discussing Nobel Prize in Medicine or Nobel Prize in Physiology. Now before discussing why the Nobel Prize in Medicine was given, the first I'll take you to the roots. So these are the types of blood cells. आपने सुना होगा RBC, red blood cells, they carry oxygen and all. And you have platelets and you have this WBC. Now among these WBC, white blood cells, our concern is lymphocytes. Okay. So these are the different types of lymphocytes. Basically the WBCs will be fighting the infections. Foreign bodies होंगे उन सब से fight करेगा. Means they are acting like a soldiers in your body. Now, let's see what are the various types of lymphocytes. The two important types of the lymphocytes are B cells and T cells. So, what do the B cells do? They attack invaders outside the cells. Cell के बाहर fight करेगा. I attack infected cells. Okay. So, for example, tumor cell है, cancer का cell है, उससे fight करेगा. So our concern is not much about B cells, our concern is about T cells over here. Now I will explain in one sentence why this Nobel Prize is given. See, you have these T cells. So the T cells, the T cells are like elite WBCs. यहाँ पे लिखा है. So inside the family, some T cells are smart, specialized soldiers that can recognize and kill specific enemies like viruses. So T cells are elite trained commandos inside the army. So these are highly trained. Means पूरे WBCs में a kind of they kind of SPG commando type है. बहुत ही important cells है. Next, we'll be having various types of T cells. And in T cells में one type is called as regulatory T cells. Regulatory T cells, also called as TREGs. Now what do these regulatory T cells do? So whenever the T cells get activated, what is the job of the T cells? To kill, right? Now whenever the T cells get activated, अगर बॉडी को लगता है कि भैया दे आर नॉट डिफरेंशिएटिंग बिटवीन द एनिमीज एंड insiders. Means sometimes what they do is they start killing our own cells. मतलब वो differentiate कर नहीं पाएगा. For example, here you have onco cell, means cancer का cell है. Here you have normal cell. So what the T cells should be doing? They should be killing only cancer cells and they should be protecting the normal cells. But क्या करेगा? कभी-कभी बहुत aggravate हो गए, okay, उसको activity ज़्यादा हो गए और नॉर्मल सेल्स को भी किल करने लगेगा. जब वो नॉर्मल सेल्स को किल करने लगेगा, बीच में आएगा ट्रैक्स. द ट्रैक्स विल बी रिड्यूसिंग द एक्टिविटी ऑफ टी सेल्स. दैट्स व्हाई दे आर कॉल्ड एज रेगुलेटरी सेल्स. सो दे आर लाइक अ ट्रैफिक पुलिसमैन, ओके, और लाइक पुलिसमैन. सो दे विल बी प्रोटेक्टिंग आवर ओन सेल्स. नाउ ये ट्रैक्स को कौन कंट्रोल करता है? The tracks are controlled by this gene called as FOXP3 gene. So the tracks are controlled by FOXP3 gene. Now, for the identification of the tracks, regulatory T cells, the Nobel Prize has been awarded to Sakaguchi, Shimon Sakaguchi. And for the identification of the FOXP3 gene, the Nobel Prize has been given to these two people. Okay, one is Mary, other is Fred. Now, what is the application of this? अगर आपके पास कैंसर है, so कैंसर में बहुत सारा ट्यूमर ग्रो होगा. मीन्स आपके पास बहुत सारे सेल्स है which have to be killed. So regulatory T cells कम होना चाहिए कि ज़्यादा होना चाहिए? So regulatory T cells ट्रैक्स कम होना चाहिए. So ट्रैक्स कम होना चाहिए तो FOXP3 को आपको कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा. Now for example, you have autoimmune diseases. So in autoimmune diseases, we need too few tracks because a regulatory genes क्या करेगा? T cells वो जाके सेल्स को मारता रहेगा. So in case of autoimmune diseases, the problem is we have too few tracks. तो यहाँ पे ट्रैक्स का होना इंपॉर्टेंट है. मीन्स वो पुलिस वाले की होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि इस केस में ये टी सेल्स अपने सेल्स को जाके मार रहा है. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई द FOXP3 जीन रेगुलेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नेक्स्ट, इन ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांटेशन डॉक्टर्स वांट ट्रैक्स टू बी स्ट्रांग सो योर बॉडी डजंट रिजेक्ट द न्यू ऑर्गन. सो दिस इज द एप्लीकेशन. सो इतना डीप में नहीं पूछेगा. सो जो भी यहाँ पे इंफॉर्मेशन लिखा है सो उसको आप देख लेना एक बार. ओके, आप नोट डाउन कर लेना. मैंने मोटा मोटा क्या होता है यहाँ पे बता दिया. So next is Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Now say these columns which you see, these are the pillars and these are the metal nodes. Means अगर आप इस कॉलम को एक डंडा को बड़ा करोगे देन अंदर का सरफेस एरिया बढ़ जाएगा. सो अंदर का सरफेस एरिया आपको अगर कम करना है डंडा को छोटा कर दो. अब बचपन में खेला होगा ना, ओके, डंडे से उन्होंने एक स्ट्रक्चर्स बनाना. सो वैसा ही कुछ है. नो व्हाई इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज दिस आर ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज मेटल ऑर्गेनिक फ्रेमवर्क्स. Now what is the importance of this? The importance is you can increase the surface area. For example, आपको अंदर बहुत सारे मटेरियल फिट करना है, आप पिलर को बड़ा कर दो, मीन्स दिस ऑर्गेनिक मैटर को बड़ा कर दो. ओके, सो एंड इट विल बी हैविंग सच अ लार्ज सरफेस एरिया. इफ यू आर टेकिंग 1 gram of this MOF, then it has an area of 2 football fields also. इतना बड़ा एरिया होगा एक ही ग्राम में. So basically it is acting like a sponge. इसका पहले okay, to do the function of the sponge we used to use zeolites. Zeolites are nothing but silicates, but instead of zeolites we can use such kind of structures. So these are super light, super efficient, okay, and you can increase the surface area enormously. Now इसका फायदा क्या होगा जब तक आप फायदा नहीं समझोगे. So imagine आप डेजर्ट में हो, डेजर्ट में आपको पानी चाहिए। सो डेजर्ट का जो एटमॉस्फेयर है उसमें भी थोड़ा बहुत ह्यूमिडिटी होता है, लेकिन the water vapor which is present in the desert, okay, when you have low relative humidity, it will become very difficult to catch. But the water vapor has got a property, that is, जहाँ पे भी surface area ज़्यादा है वहाँ जाके absorb करेगा. For example, you are having such kind of a sponge, okay, which has high absorption capacity, and जब surface area बढ़ेगा absorption capacity भी बढ़ेगा. सो आप ऐसे मेटल ऑर्गेनिक फ्रेमवर्क यूज कर सकते हो. इट विल बी एक्टिंग लाइक ए स्पॉन्ज, एक व्हाट स्पॉन्ज की तरह एक्ट करेगा. एंड स्पॉन्ज को आप रेगिस्तान के डेजर्ट के हवा में ऐसे घुमा दो, सो जितना भी मॉइस्चर है वहाँ पे उसको ऑब्जर्व करके लेके आएगा. एंड अब घर में लेके आके थोड़ा बहुत उसको टेम्परेचर दो, दिस वाटर कैन बी रिमूव्ड. सो इट कैन एक्ट, इट कैन बी यूज्ड इन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग. द सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट यूज कैन बी, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इथेलिन गैस है. सो जब तक आपके फ्रूट्स में, वेजिटेबल्स में ज़्यादा इथेलिन गैस होगा वो जल्दी पकेगा, मीन्स राइपनिंग विल बी मोर. से यू वांट टू रिड्यूस दिस इथेलिन गैस फ्रॉम द फ्रूट्स. सो आप ऑर्गेनोमेटालिक फ्रेमवर्क को फल के पास लेके जाओ, ऐसे ऊपर से साफ कर दो, तो जितना भी इथेलिन गैस है उसके अंदर आ जाएगा, तो रेट ऑफ राइपनिंग विल बी रिड्यूस. से यू वांट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल, से वाटर में मेर्क्यूरी ज़्यादा है, सो ये मेटालो ऑर्गेनिक ये वाला फ्रेमवर्क को वाटर में घुमा दो और जितना भी अंडर मेर्क्यूरी है उन सबको ऑब्जर्व करके लेके आएगा. एंड से यू वांट टू रिकवर द रेयर अर्थ मेटल्स. से मोनोसाइड सैंड्स इन केरला देयर आर रेयर अर्थ मेटल्स, लेकिन उसका एक्सट्रैक्शन जो है इट इज़ इन्वॉल्व विथ वेरी हाई अमाउंट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, एनर्जी. सो ये स्पॉन्ज काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर ओके इन द मेटल ऑर्गेनिक फ्रेमवर्क, और रेती में घुमा दो और जितना भी वहाँ पे रेयर अर्थ मेटल्स है उसको ऑब्जर्व कर लेगा. सो यू कैन हैव मेनी यूजेस डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द मटेरियल विच यू चूज. सो दिस इज व्हाट फॉर द Nobel Prize in Chemistry was given. So next is the Nobel Prize in Physics. Now the Nobel Prize in Physics is given for two things which we'll discuss. But before that, I want to talk about what is quantum physics. See, a same material in different sizes, means nano size में और macro size में, they behave differently. For example, okay, you have aluminium. So aluminium in macro large size में stable है, but aluminium in nano size it become combustile, means वो जलने लगता है. इनफैक्ट बहुत सारा रॉकेट में दिस फ्यूल इज यूज्ड, रॉकेट का फ्यूल में काम आता है एल्यूमिनियम पाउडर. जो एल्यूमिनियम आपके घर में यूज़ करते हो ना, वो जब उसको छोटा छोटा काटोगे नैनो साइज में वो जल जाएगा, रिएक्टिव हो जाएगा. सिमिलरली गोल्ड इज इनर्ट, बट एट नैनो स्केल द गोल्ड बिकम्स हाईली रिएक्टिव. नाउ जब कोई मटेरियल को आप छोटे टुकड़े में कर रहे हो उसके प्रॉपर्टीज चेंज हो रहे हैं अचानक. व्हाई? बिकॉज द क्वांटम मैकेनिकल इफेक्ट्स are coming into play. Means छोटे लेवल में at nano size you have different forces altogether. So these different forces are because आपने सुना है न्यूक्लियर फोर्स के बारे में. सो एक और एनालॉजी देता हूं मैं. सही, प्रोटॉन एंड प्रोटॉन. So what is the force between a proton and proton? Obviously you'll be saying that you'll be having repulsive force, electromagnetic repulsive force. They repel each other. But if you're bringing the same two protons in the range of 10 to the power of minus 15 meters, there is attractive force. And this attractive force is the strongest force in the universe. मीन्स दो पार्टिकल्स जो रिपल कर रहे हैं उनको आप नजदीक लेके आ रहे हो तो वहां पे पूरा डायनेमिक्स चेंज हो रहा है, उस बहुत ही स्ट्रांगली एक दूसरे से अटैच हो रहे हैं. So with distance and with size, the things are changing. And this is what the quantum physics is all about. Quantum physics. So ये मोटा मोटा समझ लेना, what is this quantum physics or quantum phenomena. Okay? And this year's Nobel Prize in Physics is focusing on this. जब आप छोटे स्केल में जा रहे हो आपको पता है कि वहां पे डिफरेंट फोर्सेस आ रहे हैं, लेकिन टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट, मतलब व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम लिमिट ऑफ दिस नैनो पार्टिकल टिल विच दिस फोर्सेस विल बी एक्टिंग. से यू रियलाइज दैट ओके 1 नैनोमीटर में ओके दैट फोर्स इज देयर, द स्पेशल फोर्स इज देयर. क्या ये 10 नैनोमीटर में भी फोर्स एक्ट होगा? क्या 20 नैनोमीटर में भी फोर्स एक्ट होगा? 100 नैनोमीटर में भी फोर्स एक्ट होगा? से आफ्टर 100 नैनोमीटर अब 105 नैनोमीटर पहुंच रहे हो, देन द फोर्स इज चेंजिंग अगेन. मीन्स जो गोल्ड जो रिएक्टिव था वो स्टेबल हो रहा है. सो द नोबेल प्राइज इन फिजिक्स वाज गिवन टू फाइंड आउट दिस मैक्सिमम साइज अंटिल विच द स्पेशल प्रॉपर्टीज आर अप्लीकेबल. ओके, इतना समझ लेना ये बहुत है. And associated phenomena, you have something called as energy quantization. अपने स्कूल में भी पढ़ा होगा. Say you are having a nucleus. So around the nucleus you have orbits, right? So electron will be existing in these orbits only. It will not exist anywhere in between. मीन्स रैंडमली इलेक्ट्रॉन कहीं पे भी अवेलेबल नहीं होगा और सिर्फ ऑर्बिट्स में ही होता है. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज एनर्जी क्वांटाइजेशन. मीन्स एनर्जी इज नॉट फाउंड कंटिन्यूअसली, इट इज फाउंड एट डिफरेंट लेवल्स. फर्स्ट लेवल, सेकेंड लेवल, थर्ड लेवल. सो दैट इज एनर्जी क्वांटाइजेशन इन वेरी सिंपल टर्म्स. व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ दिस? विल सी. सो एनर्जी क्वांटाइजेशन कैन बी यूजफुल से इन द क्वांटम डॉट्स. So whenever an electron is coming from higher level, say level 2 and this is level 1. When electron comes from the level 2 to level 1, it will be releasing a specific energy. For example, a TV quantum dot से बना हुआ है. So यहाँ पे एक dot है, for example quantum dot. छोटा होगा, मैं यहाँ पे बड़ा ड्रॉ कर रहा हूँ. मुझे इस डब्बे में एक specific color चाहिए. Then I'll be de-exciting the electron from a particular level to particular level. से मुझे ब्लू लाइट चाहिए, देन मैं 3 से 1 तक de-excite कराऊंगा, इलेक्ट्रॉन को 3 से 1 भेजूंगा. से मुझे येलो लाइट चाहिए, मैं 2 से 1 भेजूंगा. सो आई नो दैट इस लेवल से इस लेवल आने तक ये पर्टिकुलर एनर्जी रिलीज होती है, मुझे पता है. ओके, सो दैट इज द बेनिफिट. सो वन मोर बेनिफिट कैन बी एटॉमिक स्पेक्ट्रा. मीन्स ए पर्टिकुलर एलिमेंट ए पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ लाइट ही एमिट करती है. से यू हैव ए पर्टिकुलर एलिमेंट, ओके, उसमें तो उसका तो फिक्स है इलेक्ट्रॉन कहाँ पे रहना चाहिए. सो इलेक्ट्रॉन एक लेवल से दूसरे लेवल पे आएगा, एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ लाइट एमिट करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप मार्स के ऊपर जा रहे हो, मून के ऊपर जा रहे हो, आपको पता नहीं वहां पे मटेरियल क्या है. सो यू स्टडी इट्स स्पेक्ट्रोग्राफी. मीन्स आप एक तरीके का एनर्जी भेजो एंड देखो आप कौन सा एनर्जी वहां से रिसीव कर रहे हो, कौन सा लाइट आपके पास आ रहा है. उसके हिसाब से आप एनालाइज कर सकते हो कि वो कौन सा मटेरियल है. एंड सिमिलरली इट कैन बी यूज्ड इन द फोटोवोल्टाइक इफेक्ट, सोलर सेल्स, एलईडीज, लेजर्स एक्सेट्रा. लेजर में भी सेम है. तो लेजर में भी आपको एक सिंक्रोनाइज्ड लाइट चाहिए, से एक मोनोक्रोमेटिक लाइट चाहिए. एंड इस सारा मोनोक्रोमेटिक लाइट को अगर आप एम्पलीफाई करोगे देन आपको एक हाई एनर्जी मिलेगा. सो आप ऐसे इलेक्ट्रॉन्स से एक 1 लाख ले लो एंड एक ही टाइम पे ये सारे इलेक्ट्रॉन्स को एक लेवल से दूसरे लेवल में आप de-excite करो. जब सारा जो एनर्जी यहाँ पे निकल रहा है सारे एनर्जी को मिलाओ, आपके पास एक पावरफुल लाइट आएगा. जब सारे मिलेंगे तो एम्पलीफाई हो जाएगा. सो दैट इज हाउ द लेजर्स फंक्शन. सो लेजर्स, LEDs, I have explained. You can go through it if you want. You can read this also, you can take a screenshot or whatever, you can write down. Next, quantum tunneling effect. See, for example, I have a ball. Say I am throwing the ball towards the wall. So ball wall के पास जाके bounce होके बाहर आ जाएगा, फिर वापस मेरे पास आ जाएगा. But imagine the wall, मैं इधर से बॉल भेज रहा हूं, ये वॉल के उस तरफ जाके मिलेगा. Means the ball has a capacity to penetrate through the wall. ये कैसे होगा? This phenomena is called as quantum tunneling. से मैं भाग के आ रहा हूं एंड मैं ये बोर्ड के उस तरफ जाके प्रत्यक्ष हो रहा हूं, something of that sort. So this is called as quantum tunneling because in quantum physics, an entity can behave like a particle and also it can behave like a wave. और जब वो पार्टिकल तरह बिहेव करेगा, बाउंस होके बाहर आ जाएगा. जब वो वेव की तरह बिहेव करेगा, वो पेनिट्रेट होके दूसरे तरफ चला जाएगा. ओके, सो क्वांटम टनलिंग विल बी यूजिंग द फिनोमेना ऑफ द वेव. नाउ व्हाट इज द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ दिस? द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ दिस कैन बी मेनी एप्लीकेशन. फ्लैश ड्राइव्स, अगेन इन एग्जामिनेशन व्हाट इज द एप्लीकेशन अगर पूछ रहा है तो सारा ही मार्क कर देना. ओके, डजंट मैटर. फॉर एग्जांपल फ्लैश ड्राइव्स. तो फ्लैश ड्राइव्स में अगर आपको स्टोर करना है ओके आपके मेमोरी को, देन क्वांटम टनलिंग यूज होता है. न्यूक्लियर फ्यूजन इन स्टार्स, अगेन रेडियो एक्टिविटी. रेडियो एक्टिव में क्या होता है? इन रेडियो एक्टिविटी विल बी हैविंग अल्फा पार्टिकल, बीटा पार्टिकल, गामा पार्टिकल. सो दीज पार्टिकल्स विल बी कमिंग आउट ऑफ द न्यूक्लियस. सो ए न्यूक्लियस के बाहर कैसे आएगा? सो न्यूक्लियस के अंदर दो प्रोटॉन है, दो न्यूट्रॉन है. अगर ये दो प्रोटॉन दो न्यूट्रॉन न्यूक्लियस से बाहर आ रहा है, दैट बिकम्स एन अल्फा पार्टिकल. तो बाहर कैसे आ रहा है वो? क्वांटम टनलिंग अगेन. सो क्वांटम एनर्जी इज ए कॉम्प्लेक्स फिनोमेना. आप इतना समझ लो, बहुत ज्यादा है, मोर देन सफिशिएंट. सो व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ क्वांटम डिस्कवरी, मैक्रोस्कोपिक क्वांटम डिस्कवरी? सो यहाँ पे वर्ड यूज किया है मैक्रोस्कोपिक. मीन्स आपको पता है कि नैनो स्केल में दिस फिनोमिना इज एप्लीकेबल, बट टू व्हाट मैक्सिमम साइज वी कैन गो बाय विच वी कैन मेक दिस प्रॉपर्टीज एप्लीकेबल. सो वो पढ़ने के लिए, वो खोजने के लिए नोबेल प्राइज इन फिजिक्स मिला है. Now this will have a lot of application in quantum technologies. Okay, so I'll not be discussing now. I'll be discussing in some other month's current affairs. Okay, so quantum computers में phenomena को use करते हैं. So quantum में फिर से पढ़ाऊंगा. Okay, whenever okay come across in the current affairs again. So next, so here we'll be studying a satellite called as Aryabhatta satellite. So before studying the Aryabhatta satellite, I'll explain you some phenomena. You see this phenomena over here? So here you have two neutron stars. So the neutron stars are very heavy. Okay, अगर आप एक spoonful matter ले लोगे neutron star से, it will be as heavy as like a Empire State Building. इतना heavy होता है. Because in this you will be having only neutrons compacted. Now when they come across each other, they'll be revolving around each other and they collide with each other. And whenever they collide, they'll be releasing enormous amount of energy, very high amount of energy. Similarly, okay, after the collision, they'll be releasing such a high amount of energy, so it will appear like very bright light in the universe. Similarly, this phenomena is the explosion of a star. means star के stage में you will come across a stage where it will explode. This is called as supernova explosion. And there is one star called as Betelgeuse star. Betelgeuse. So it may also explode into supernova anytime soon. Soon matlab within 50,000 years or 1 lakh years. So it is also a bright event in the universe. Now whenever you have such kind of high energy phenomena in the universe, so you have to see in the high energy part of the spectrum. means this is the electromagnetic spectrum. In electromagnetic spectrum, you have this visible spectrum. ये वाला visible spectrum है, जिस स्पेक्ट्रम में आप देख सकते हो. अगर आपको वैसे चीजें देखना है, हाई एनर्जी इवेंट्स देखना है यूनिवर्स में, then you have to watch the universe in ultraviolet spectrum and X-ray part of the spectrum. If you are looking in visible or infrared, they may not be visible to you. For example, आपको रात के टाइम में किसी को देखना है, नाइट विजन गॉगल्स सुना होगा. So night vision goggles will be seeing what? They'll be seeing infrared. अरे करंट गई, एनर्जी नहीं है उतना, लाइट बंद हो गया, फिर भी अपनी बॉडी एक एनर्जी रेडिएट करती है. दैट इज नथिंग बट हीट एनर्जी. अगर आपको वो एनर्जी महसूस करना है, आपको इंफ्रारेड ग्लासेस पहनना पड़ेगा. सिमिलरली, इफ यू वांट टू वॉच सच काइंड ऑफ हाई एनर्जी इंसिडेंट्स इन द वर्ल्ड, इन द यूनिवर्स, then you have to watch in UV part of the spectrum. Sorry, it's not Aryabhatta satellite, it is Astrosat satellite. This Astrosat satellite के लिए 10 साल हो गया because it has been launched in 2015. The rocket which is used is PSLV C30 and its weight is around 1530 kg. So 1500 किलो के आसपास अगर होता है तो then you'll be using PSLV rocket, will not be using GSLV use नहीं करेगा. Okay, remember GSLV will not be used. Okay. Then in which orbit it is placed? So it is placed in equatorial, near equatorial orbit. In Leo. Leo means lower Earth orbit at around 650 kilometers. So it is not polar. Polar orbit नहीं है. ये ध्यान रखना. Near equatorial है. So generally, if a satellite is in equatorial orbit, then it must be at a distance of around 36,000 kilometers usually, because वो होता है geostationary satellite या geosynchronous होता है. But this is an exception. That's why you have to remember this. Now again, why it is not kept in the polar orbit? Why it is kept in the near equatorial orbit? Because there is something called as South Atlantic anomaly. Again, I won't be able to explain it here. I'll explain it to some other time. किसी और month के current affairs में South Atlantic anomaly I will explain. Okay, so these are some of the features of this. Now you can say that, see, this is a universe observing satellite. आप 36,000 kilometers में भी भेज सकते हो ना. तो why you have sent only 650 kilometers? See, when you have to observe the universe, say if you are watching from the Earth's surface, say आप दिल्ली में आप टेलीस्कोप रखे हो, तो दिल्ली में अगर टेलीस्कोप रख के यूनिवर्स को देख रहे हो, पूरा धुंधी दिखाई देगा ना, पूरा फॉग पोल्यूशन भी दिखाई देगा, आपको यूनिवर्स थोड़ी दिखाई देगा. इसलिए आपको थोड़ा ऊपर जाना चाहिए, मीन्स कोई पहाड़ के ऊपर जाना चाहिए. इसलिए लद्दाख में अपने बहुत सारे, लद्दाख में है, ऊटी में है, अपना माउंट आबू राजस्थान में. ओके, सो जहाँ पे भी पहाड़ होते हैं उसके ऊपर हम अपने टेलीस्कोप रखते हैं. लेकिन फिर भी वहाँ पे आपका वाइड लाइट पोल्यूशन होता है. ओके, अदर रेडिएशनल डिस्टर्बेंसेस विल बी देयर. सो दैट्स व्हाई यू गो इन द स्पेस. So when you are keeping a satellite, okay, when you are keeping a telescope in the space, you will be having better view of the universe. But again, if you are sending something at 36,000 kilometers, the cost will also increase. So for every 1 kg per 1 kilometer, you will be spending around $5,000 to $10,000. इतना सारा spend करना पड़ता है for every kg. So that's why it is better to keep at a location where you can watch the universe peacefully, without any disturbance, without any radiational disturbances, and also it should not be very costly for you. So that's why you have chosen this 650 kilometer. So that's why, okay, it will be watching X-ray transients. So I have explained you ना X-ray में क्यों watch करोगे, while be watching in UV etc. Because these are all high energy incidents. So what all it will be analyzing? X-ray pulsars. The pulsars are nothing but, pulsar means a pulsating star. Pulsating star. Pulsating star means it's a neutron star which is spinning. जब भी एक neutron star spin करता है, it's called as a pulsar. So this you see, this is pulsar. Accretion disk, time dilation variability. Again, these things we'll discuss later, okay, in some other. So it will be studying high energy processes. This is very important. Because in examination they will be asking you in which part of the electromagnetic spectrum you will be observing. Means it will be observing in infrared spectrum, it will be observing in visible spectrum. A spectrum पूछेगा. And I have explained you why only in this particular spectrum you are watching. इसके लिए मैंने इतना रामायण महाभारत बताया. Because when I tell you something, I want to tell you, okay, with conceptual clarity. Means instead of just mugging up things, I want you to know what is the reason behind it. And इसके बारे में आपको अगर फिर भी ज़्यादा क्लैरिटी चाहिए, ओके, डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में मैं आपका नंबर दे दूंगा, वहाँ पे मुझे डाउट्स पूछ लेना आप, कुछ भी डाउट्स हो. So this is, okay, as you said, okay, has 10 years since its launch, so this is the news. Now India's disease burden, okay, has shifted. Means say we can say that India has become a developed country. मतलब you know, गरीबों के बीमारी से अमीरों की बीमारी में अपन पहुंच गए. See, गरीबों को कौन सी बीमारियां होती है? Okay, so like they will be having the problem of infectious diseases, malaria आ रहा है, cholera आ रहा है, diarrhea आ रहा है, उससे लोग मर रहे हैं. अमीरों को कौन सी बीमारी होती है? They are called as non-communicable diseases, lifestyle diseases. Okay, heart attacks आना, blood में cholesterol बढ़ना, और you know aging, geriatrics, smoking, obesity, diabetes, hypertension. So these are non-communicable diseases. And in communicable diseases, okay, we'll be having waterborne diseases. पानी अच्छा नहीं है, air अच्छा नहीं है, okay, because of this TB, malaria, COVID, cholera, etc. एक गरीबों की बीमारी है. Now India has finally surpassed. So means maximum amount of deaths in India are taking place because of non-communicable diseases. And NCDs now cause global disease burden with 1 point. इतना information ज़रूरत नहीं है, ये सब याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Okay, just know what are these NCDs. This is important. What are the fastest rising NCDs? Anxiety, depression. These are fastest rising. Okay, so remember this also. And infectious diseases are dropping because of vaccines, sanitation, etc. Remember this. So this you can ignore. इतना information कोई याद नहीं रखेगा, याद रखने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. So why these NCDs are increasing in India? Because of urbanization, because of aging population, unhealthy lifestyle. You cannot just eat right anything in India. बाहर कहीं पे भी जाओ आपको कार्बोहाइड्रेट रिच फूड, यू नो, ऑयल रिच फूड ही मिलेगा, उसमें भी बहुत सारा मिलावट होता है. Because of air pollution, okay, biological risks, psychological factors, because when you stay in an urban area, the stress will be more. FOMO is also there, fear of missing out. अरे कोई मना नहीं जा रहा है, कोई कहीं जा रहा है, अपन को भी जाना चाहिए, okay, अपन को भी वहाँ पे रोहतांग जाके फोटो खींचना चाहिए, WhatsApp status, Instagram, etc. That is fear of missing out. Okay, so these are the various reasons. Again, okay, the information which is important. So 60 to 65% of deaths are because of non-communicable diseases. Economic loss उतना याद रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, मेंस के लिए काम आएगा, प्रीलिम्स के लिए उतना काम नहीं आएगा. So rest of the things you can ignore. So next is antimicrobial resistance. Okay, it has been increasing. Okay, it has become a silent pandemic. See, what is this antimicrobial resistance? For example, you have this 100 bacteria. से आपने कोई what antibiotic लिया आपने, so 99 will be killed but 1 will be remaining. और जो हार्पिक के ऐड में दिखाते हैं ना, हार्पिक आप छिड़क दो, it will be killing that 99.99% of the bacteria, virus, whatever, rest that 0.1% or 1% will be remaining. Now this one which is remaining, it will become resistant to this. Now again this will multiply, a 1 फिर 100 बनेगा. Now this is resistance to the previous drug. तो पुराना वाला ड्रग जो है वो काम नहीं करेगा यहाँ पे. So here you have to come up with a new drug. Again new drug आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करना पड़ेगा. Again ये न्यू ड्रग क्या करेगा, 99 को मारेगा, एक बचेगा, एंड एक फिर 100 होगा. Then you have to come up with new drug 2. So वैसे ना आपको antibiotics you have to keep on creating. There is no end to it, because this bacteria will mutate, they will keep on mutating, they will become resistant. For example, okay, आप ऑल आउट यूज़ कर रहे हो, पहले आपके बचपन में okay, ऑल आउट से मच्छर मरते थे, अभी मच्छर जाके अलोट पे बैठा रहेगा. So because they have become resistance. So that is how the antimicrobial resistance is increasing. And this is also creating super bugs. Super bugs means these are such kind of bugs, means bacteria or virus, which are very much resistant to any kind of a drug which you are giving. तो कोई भी दवा दो ये मरेगा ही नहीं. Okay, these are called as the super bugs. And this has become a global health threat. Why it is increasing? Because antibiotic overuse. आपको फीवर आ गया, ओके, वायरल फीवर आया, आपको एंटीबायोटिक ले रहे हो. भैया एंटीबायोटिक ओके सिर्फ ओके बैक्टीरिया के ऊपर काम करेगा, आपके वायरस के ऊपर नाम नहीं काम करेगा. वायरल फीवर आ रहा है तो आप एंटीबायोटिक क्यों ले रहे हो? इतना भी कॉमन सेंस नहीं लोगों में. सो अपने आप ले लेते हो, डॉक्टर ने पूछा नहीं पूछा आप ले लेते हो. नहीं तो डॉक्टर को बोलते हो भैया इसने आपने एंटीबायोटिक क्यों नहीं लिखा. बेचारा डॉक्टर क्या करेगा, वो लिख देगा. पुअर सैनिटेशन, ओके, आप सैनिटेशन अच्छा नहीं रखते हो तो बहुत सारा बैक्टीरिया ब्रीड होता है वहाँ पे. देन एग्रीकल्चरल मिसयूज, ओके, इनकम्प्लीट ट्रीटमेंट कोर्सेस. सो आपने डॉक्टर ने आपको बोला कि और भैया आप एंटीबायोटिक ले लो 7 दिन के लिए, आप 2 दिन के लिए लोगे, बाकी क्या करोगे, बाहर फेंकोगे. जब बाहर फेंकोगे दवाई, वो किसी न किसी के ऊपर तो एक्ट करेगा ना, वो 99 बैक्टीरिया को मार देगा, बट 1 बैक्टीरिया जो बचेगा दैट विल बिकम रेजिस्टेंट. So this is how the antimicrobial resistance has been increasing. Next, now the Mr. PM Modi has laid the foundation for Mahi Banswara Rajasthan Atomic Power Plant. Okay, so this is a new power plant. So in this context, they can ask, now Mahi Banswara is different from Rawat Bhatta. A Rawat Bhatta Kota mein, it's also called as Kota Power Plant or Rawat Bhatta Power Plant. ये अलग है, ये अलग है, तो दोनों कंफ्यूज मत होना. नाउ इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट दे कैन आस्क विच आर द वेरियस पावर प्लांट्स ऑफ इंडिया. सो इंडियन पावर प्लांट्स आर एट 7 साइट्स, मीन्स 23 to 25 रिएक्टर्स है, कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं काम कर रहे हैं. द टोटल कैपेसिटी इज 8,800 मेगावाट एंड 3% ऑफ इंडियाज इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नीड्स. मीन्स अपना इंस्टॉल कैपेसिटी अराउंड 5 लाख है. 5 लाख में न्यूक्लियर का कंट्रीब्यूशन सिर्फ 8,880, 888. ना कहाँ पे लोकेटेड है ये पूछ सकता है. ना तारापुर, ओके, इट इज इन नियर मुंबई, महाराष्ट्र. राजस्थान एटॉमिक पावर प्रोजेक्ट, दिस इज रावत भट्टा, कोटा. नेक्स्ट मद्रास एटॉमिक पावर प्लांट, कल्पक्कम, याद रखना. नेक्स्ट नरोरा. नेक्स्ट काकरापार, काइगा इज इन कर्नाटका. देन कूडंकुलम. एक कूडंकुलम वाला ओके मैंने डिस्कस किया, इट्स रशिया. सो दिस आर द वेरियस न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट्स ऑफ इंडिया. सो दिस इज द इंस्टॉल कैपेसिटी एज ऑफ दिस. ओके 5 लाख है. जब तक आप एग्जाम लिखोगे तो 5.5 लाख भी हो सकता है. नाउ हु कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट्स हाउ मच, ये भी ध्यान रखना है. द फर्स्ट इज कोल. ओके, अगर आप पुराने टेक्स्ट बुक्स पढ़ रहे हो, मतलब पुराने मतलब 1 साल पुराना भी अगर पढ़ रहे हो, सेकंड मोस्ट हाईएस्ट कंट्रीब्यूटर वहां पे हाइड्रो होगा. लेकिन भैया अभी हाइड्रो नहीं है. हाइड्रो को सोलर भी पार कर चुका है. नाउ सोलर इज सेकंड, विंड इज थर्ड, हाइड्रो इज फोर्थ. नाउ ये ध्यान रखना. ओके, बिकॉज हाइड्रो का परसेंटेज उतना इंक्रीज नहीं हो रहा है. नाउ सी सोलर, ओके, इट हैज बिकम अराउंड 25%. एंड नाउ renewable energy has crossed the non-renewable energy. ये भी ध्यान रखना. So earlier renewable energy percentage was very less. मीन्स सोलर का, विंड का, ओके, इसका परसेंटेज कम था. अब ये परसेंटेज बढ़ गया. क्यों? बिकॉज द सोलर का परसेंटेज बढ़ा है, विंड का परसेंटेज बढ़ा है, एंड हाइड्रो को रिन्यूएबल में काउंट करने लगे इंडिया में. हर जगह वर्ल्ड में नहीं होता है, बट इंडिया में काउंट करने लगे. See, I have completed the October current affairs in a very comprehensive way. Means static part की आपका cover हो गया and dynamic part भी cover हो गया. Now, if you like my video, share with your friends, okay? And please subscribe my channel, okay? तभी मुझे पता लगेगा, because मैं इतना मेहनत करके सब कुछ यहाँ पे सब बना के आपको पढ़ा रहा हूँ. So, okay, to encourage me, okay, please comment under the video. Okay, increase the engagement, also share with your friends. So only when I'll be having more views, okay, I'll be coming up with all the videos. So ऐसे मैं चारों subjects का current affairs, okay, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द मंथ ऑफ जून 2025. सो जून से लेके नेक्स्ट मई तक या अप्रैल तक मैं सारा ही करंट अफेयर्स कवर कर दूंगा. इसमें से 50 क्वेश्चंस ओके आएंगे, because the subjects which I have taken are such subjects from where 50 questions will come. So I'll be beating around the bush, okay, and I'll be covering the topics in a comprehensive way. So please, okay, support, subscribe, okay, and also share with your friends, okay. तो शेयर करने से आपके लिए अच्छा ही होगा, okay. ऐसा मत सोचना कि एग्जाम है दूसरे को पता नहीं चलना चाहिए. Please do. So then only I'll be producing the video. And also if you have any queries or anything, okay, you can text me, you can message me, okay. I'll be leaving my number in the description box, okay. Thank you, okay. Welcome.